They had a very bad original concept. It was carried out poorly, and the cover-up was one of the worst in the history of cover-ups. Very simple. Bad deal, should have never been thought of. Somebody really messed up, and they had the worst cover-up ever. And where it should have stopped is at the deal standpoint when they thought about it, because whoever thought of that idea, I think, is in big trouble.
Did you use the word smart? So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe. Well, you have to say, the first time I ever heard of Black Lives Matter, they were chanting, pigs in a blanket, talking about police. Pigs, talking about our police. Pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon.
And then they have cans of soup. And they throw the cans of soup. That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick, it's too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? And then when they get caught, they say, no, this is soup from my family. They're so innocent. This is soup from my family. It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup, and they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. And if it hits you, that's worse than a brick because it's got force. It's the perfect size. It's like made perfect. And when they get caught, they say, no, this is just soup from my family. And then the media says, this is just soup. These people are very, very innocent. They're innocent people.
Well, you haven't. You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You said you were, but now you got to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you.
Retweet. That was an opinion of somebody, and that was a retweet. I'll put it out there. People can decide for themselves. I don't take a position.
And he's like this, and we were, I need water, help me, I need water, help. And he's, this is on live television. Even before you do that, and not even including that, that's why I hardly even included that number, although in one state we have a tremendous amount of dead people, so I don't know. I'm sure we do in Georgia too. I'm sure we do in Georgia too.
But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Bad deal, should have never been thought of. $7 million for reef fish management. $25 million to combat Asian carp. $2.5 million to count the number of amberjack fish in the Gulf of Mexico.
And I have a simple proposition here. I'm here to ask you for your help. Where I come from, you don't get far unless you ask. My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Look me over. If you're likely to see, help out. If not, vote the other way. Give me...
The truth of the matter is that when you look at some of my policies, in a lot of ways, Richard Nixon was more liberal than I was. The truth of the matter is that when you look at some of my... The truth of the matter is that when you look at some of my policies, in a lot of ways, Richard Nixon was more liberal than I was.
Not good. Believe me, not good.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
In case you don't know, and you haven't seen the latest polls, the American people hold the President of the United States in contempt. They hold this institution in contempt. They hold the Republican Party in contempt. They hold the Democratic Party in contempt. They think that maybe, given all of the crises facing this country, it's about time that there was some bold leadership here and that this institution made some hard choices.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, you can't get fooled again.
You're dying. That's true. And it is what it is. Running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Could you imagine if I lose my whole life? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I lost to the worst candidate in the history of politics. I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country. I don't know.
Watch Hillary examine the terrain. Watch a campaign with the man Tim Kaine. Tim Kaine in the membrane. Tim Kaine in the brain.
Did you use the word smart? So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe.
They're not accountable to anyone. I get 10 to 12 million views a month. Show up today at our town hall. Who isn't endorsing hashtag the vote? All those motherfuckers who didn't show up today at our town hall. Every fucking one of them is selling you out.
All of a sudden we can't talk about Neanderthal DNA anymore.
And by the way, I don't think that's some grand conspiracy. I think this is sort of what power is. I mean this at a sort of high level.
Watch Hillary examine the terrain. Watch a campaign with the man Tim Kaine. Tim Kaine in the membrane. Tim Kaine in the brain.
Early in the morning, they went to the table with the black robe, the black shield, and they pulled out the votes. Those votes were put there a number of hours before the...
Hello, motherfuckers, and welcome to another episodic installation of Above It Motherfucking All. And goddamn, right? Holy mackerel! There's a lot to unpack here. I would like to start today's episode by saying, over the next couple of weeks, we will probably be unpacking the events that took place over the last 24 hours. I was sitting here 24 hours ago. I was sitting here, and I was like, I think something's going to happen today, so I'm going to stream all day. And so you can watch me stream starting from 10 a.m. Eastern on January 6th, all the way up to 1 a.m. on January 7th. I ended up streaming for quite a while. I don't know, I think it was like, 15, 16 hours? And so, I was there the whole time. If you're interested in watching things unfold live, definitely go check out the video. I don't know if I'm going to be taking clips from yesterday's stream. It was so long, I don't even know where to begin when it comes to the editing process. When it comes to so if you do rewatch the stream, or if you remember something you would like to see as an individual video, from yesterday's stream, let me know. Let me know, because again, you can watch my stream. Kentucky Fried Comrade, you bring up a good point. It took me hours to collect my thought. You can watch my stream and you can see the disbelief, needless to say, in my facial face. You can see the disbelief, when I first saw the blood spatter all over the ground outside of the Capitol building. That's when I was like, okay, this has officially gone from a 2-hour stream to a 12-hour stream. Right, this is officially, this is at the point where it's not gonna be, I'm gonna eat lunch today, I'm gonna be here the whole day. Is when I saw blood on the ground. Yeah, again, what I did yesterday was I was watching the joint session of Congress on C-SPAN, And while I was listening to that, because you don't need to look at the senators and the fucking House people talk, right? You can just listen. And while we were listening, I was shifting in between streams from outside the Capitol. And it went from them getting their fucking skulls cracked in by cops' batons, which I love that part, to the cops opening the gates and just letting them storm the fucking Capitol. But again, you can go watch the full thing. You can watch me kind of, realize what's going on. Now that, like, we've got this, this new perspective on the whole situation. Now that we've got this new perspective on the whole situation, I think it's a valuable, like, historic importance. If you like me, if you like the stuff that I do, if you like all of that, then I do think that it might be interesting for you to watch the stream. Not for, selfish reasons like boosting my ratings or whatever, because I think that video is unmonetized because of the violence that was in it. So I don't even think that video was monetized, but it's an important bit of history. Joe Biden is officially the president now, or officially president-elect, I should say. I mean, it was official months ago, but yeah, I mean, again, if you have any sort of respect for my platform, for what I think it's useful for you to watch me go through all of that situation, and to come out the other side of that. I think it's important, just, in the, like, if you're interested in how my brain works, which is something that I think, and again, I'm not, like, the videos, I don't think monetized because it's age restricted, but, it's important to know how media personalities think, what, how, like, their thought process. There's a difference between just listening to people speak, which is all great, and there's a difference between that and listening to people think. Also known as pontificate, right? And that's one of the things that I think that y'all should know is, so, if you want to know how my brain works in any capacity, you can watch yesterday's stream. And, I've got a clip. Don't worry. You can watch yesterday's stream. You'll see how my brain works. But it was a long stream. Around the curfew, when the curfew ended, it seemed like most of the stuff stopped, which is what I did not expect. I did not expect that, but it seems like most of the action stopped unless I missed things. So if you just wanted to watch, like, noon until 6 p.m., from yesterday's broadcast, that's fine too. But again, there was history there. I was restreaming a lot of people that were literally in Congress. I believe I was restreaming either, like, Baked Alaska or Nick Fuentes at some point when they were in Nancy Pelosi's office. So I was getting that shit as it happened. And so, interesting, right? It's interesting. So I just wanted to point that out there for history's sake. And we're going to get in today's show. Today's show, I do have a guest planned for the second hour, which is Kennedy from the Not Safe for Wonks Network will be hopping on. We were originally going to talk about Jimmy Dore being an idiot. But, now there's other things to talk about, so we'll see how it goes. Let me drink some coffee. All right, so I want to play this clip. This is probably the most important clip of the night. And so this is when the police decided to, this is just a random video. This is when the police decided to let the protesters in.
Police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go.
Nice commentary. Nice commentary, right?
And they just breached the Capitol again.
They didn't breach the Capitol. The cops just let them in. But anyway, again, you want to, like, a lot of the lessons that people have been trying to take away is, do we agree with police brutality if a Secret Service agent shoots a coup attempt? Attempter fascist? I personally don't give a fuck. That person bleeding out, the last memory they will ever have in their consciousness, being dying on the floor of the halls of Congress with a Trump flag. Fuck them. Fuck them. Just fuck them. I don't give a shit. But it's important to know what side the cops chose. I personally believe, and this is my personal belief, I think that every Republican should be sent to prison. I think the Republican Party should be branded as a terrorist organization. And I am not joking. I'm being hyperbolic, and I know these things won't happen. But this is me placing my marker in the sand. The entire Republican Party needs to be branded a terrorist organization. Every elected member of the Republican Party who participated in or had correspondence with these people that tried to overthrow the United States, they should be held accountable and sent to prison. Mike Pence should be held accountable, sent to prison. Every Republican who objected to the electoral vote, held accountable, sent to prison. And I'm talking about life sentences. I'm talking about, like, you know, this is my inner tanky coming out here. Like, I'm talking about, like, let's construct some gulags or something. Like, because seriously, and I mean this seriously, our government at every level has been breached. Look at this. Last month, the cybersecurity director of cybersecurity was fired by Donald Trump, and then Russian hackers managed to get inside of the nuclear agency. The government of the United States has been compromised by the Republican Party. And the Democratic Party let them do it, right? But we'll get into the Democrats later. I think that, again, and I say this without a shadow of irony, I say this without any hyperbolization whatsoever, maybe, every elected member of the Republican Party should be sent to prison. Now, we should vary the sentences. Like, if someone was just a Republican Party member and maybe, they're just a bad person, all right, sure, fuck them either way, right? But, like, if someone's literally corresponding, like, for example, there is a state legislator from West Virginia that stormed the Capitol, right? These people were in correspondence with legislators. They were in correspondence with party officials. They were in correspondence with all these militia groups like the Oath Keepers, 3%ers, all those dumb motherfuckers. All these people need to be sent to prison. Donald Trump needs to be walked out in handcuffs, not on the 20th, right now. He needs to be walked out of the White House in handcuffs, along with every single person in his staff who tried to resign. Oh, you think, now it's time to resign? Now you're going to jump ship? No. Anyone who enabled this president needs to be held accountable. Now, personally, and this is the part of me that gets a little bit hyperbolic and vindictive, I think that Nancy Pelosi should be sent to prison for not holding Donald Trump accountable, for not impeaching him on things outside of the Ukrainian phone call, for not pushing to hold this guy accountable, for not pushing a conviction, for letting this guy run rampant on our country. I think anyone that enabled Donald Trump's legislation, or his conspiracy theories related to the legislation, I think that they should be sent to prison, personally. Now, again, I say this as an anarchist. I don't like the United States government. I don't respect the United States government. However, when the United States government is taken over from the inside 4 years ago by fascists, and nothing happens, and then they build a movement that brings 1 million people to D.C., several 100,000 of which were trying to march and storm into the Capitol, there's a problem. And now, again, these are the same people that if they've been in control of the government. What did they do when it comes to transgender rights? We got banned from bathrooms, banned from certain, being able to be employed. We were banned from housing in a lot of instances. If you're trans and you're poor, good luck getting public housing under Ben Carson. So again, I do not empathize. I do not sympathize. I do not have any whatsoever feelings of sympathy or agreement with the people that stormed the Capitol. They are not my peers. They are not fellow Americans. They are traitors in the most literal definition, and they should all be sent to prison. Now again, if people are going to be sent to prison for 40 years because they flipped over a cop car in New York City during a protest, right? 40 years in jail for flipping over a cop car. If that's going to be the case, then I am going to need to see every single one of these people, including the cops, all of the police, all of the Capitol Police, all of the MPD, all of the National Guardsmen who did not provide any backup, they should all be sent to prison. Every single one of them. Even if they didn't have any correspondence. Even if they just were a little bit of a pussy and just kind of let the people into the Capitol. I'm sorry. At the very least, you should be fired. At the very least, you shouldn't be allowed to be in any position of law enforcement. However, I would prefer them all to go to prison because they are members of law enforcement. They are here to enforce the laws, and when they don't do that, they are violating the laws. And therefore, when you violate the laws, you should be going to prison. I think if there's not at least 100,000, and to my understanding, there's only 50 arrests right now, to my understanding. But if there's not at least 100,000 people being sent to prison for a considerable amount of time for all of the things that happened on January 6, 2021, then I'm going to have a very, very bad taste in my mouth. And that's kind of like, I guess I went on a little bit of a monologue here. I was originally just going to talk about the cops opening the gates, but I kind of went off on my whole thoughts here. Yeah. I'm just telling you. These are my opinions. If you disagree with them, that's fine. You can disagree with them. And my opinions in this capacity, and I want to say this explicitly, are predicated on the idea that I have no authority whatsoever when it comes to enforcing the law. I am not a lawyer. I am not a law enforcement official. I am a podcaster, right? So I want it to be explicitly clear that this is my opinion as a podcaster. If I were in charge of arresting these people, I might have a different opinion, given the context, right? But this is my opinion, having watched the entire situation unfold. And again, I already told everyone yesterday I was going to stream all day. Why did I tell them that? Because I knew something would happen. And if I, a dumb motherfucking podcast host with 60 viewers, know that these people are planning to storm the Capitol, right? And now I didn't know that they would be able to breach the Capitol and get in and cause the destruction that they did. I didn't know that. But I knew that they were going to try. And if I knew that they were going to try to do that, a dumb podcast host with 60 viewers, where's the FBI? Where's the CIA? Where's the Democratic Party? Where's the Republican Party? Where are all these apparatuses or apparandi? Where are all of these like institutions at? Where are they? If me, a dumb podcast host, can know that something is going to happen, you're telling me the entire United States government didn't know something was going to happen? And this is why I think it's an inside job. Again, as you can see in this video here, the cops let him in. They gave up. The cops gave up. Now, does that mean that they were all in on it to begin with? No, but it makes them complicit in the crimes that take place. The cops opening the barricades should be responsible for everything that those individuals did once the barricades were opened, right? If someone in this crowd went in there, right, and desecrated monuments that are in the Capitol, the police should be held accountable to be an accomplice to those desecrations of monuments. That's my opinion. And I think I got most of what I wanted to say out of the way here, and we're just going to get into some of the events from this point on. But I kind of wanted to make my opinion very explicit on all of this stuff. Again, if I was able to see it coming, the idea that the FBI they just had no idea. The FBI just didn't know. Right? The FBI just had no idea. The Trump supporters are going to listen to Trump say the election was stolen, and we're going to storm the Capitol. And then, like Trump was literally like, we're going to march over to the Capitol right now. Oh, I guess maybe something will happen. No, they'll totally be peaceful. The FBI thought that they were going to... Come on. You're going to tell me the FBI had no idea that something like this was going to happen? Again, a podcast host. I want to reiterate yesterday's stream title for the podcast. It's a big day for Donald Trump supporters. What could possibly go wrong? That was my title yesterday. I entered that title into my YouTube stream at 10 in the morning yesterday. If I can have the inclination that something is going to happen, then what the fuck was going on at the FBI? What the fuck was going on in all of these government institutions? If I, a dumb motherfucking stupid douchebag podcast host, knows what's happening, then where is everyone else? That's what I have to end on. Mike, I'm gonna have to ask you to stop it, bud. I get it. You're doing like a little skit. I understand. But I mean, like, come on, it's kind of making us uncomfortable. So I'm just like, I personally don't care, but I'm just saying, like, you know, she's a dullard. If you want to fuck her corpse or whatever, go think about that and masturbate in the corner, and I'll continue my show, and we can just move on. This is not a cat mug. This is an elephant. This is the trunk of the elephant. These are the eyes, and these are the ears. This is an elephant. Yes. I haven't watched one stream this much 2 days in a row since the H-Bomb DK64 stream. Well, I think that this is a lot more interesting, personally, but hey, that's just me. But again, yeah, I want to say thank you all for showing up here. Again, God, I'm so stupid. I clicked the wrong button. This is what happens when you're a one-person show and you get 4 hours of sleep. Like, again, I want to reiterate that this is a one-person show. Like, when you look at all those other progressive YouTubers, I know who you're subscribed to. Those are like 2, 3, sometimes 4, maybe 5 people productions, right? Sometimes I click mute on the mic when I want to turn the screen off. Whoops. I'm allowed to make a mistake. I'm human. But anyway, now that I'm done boosting my ego, today's show is going to be maybe, I would estimate today's show to be 2.5 hours. So if you're not strapped in for 2.5 hours, I mean, you're already half an hour in, so only 2 left. But if you're not strapped in, then, you know, figure something out. Feel free to watch the VOD. Hey, Top Damage Wizard, thank you for the $2. Andrea, we like you because you're a mess, not in spite of it. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, when I was doing the fundraiser for the audio equipment and stuff, I was like, should I get a green screen? Should I, like, work on my set? And I was like, hell no. And then, like, Max came along, and now it's like, imagine if I got a green screen and had a professional set, and then I got Max, and it's like, what? And we're not gonna have dog cam? Like, hello? Like, I don't know. Like, can we just have this frank and very, what's the word? I don't know, frank conversation. Max, but wandering around in the background, right? Let's be real here. That is high quality content. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Just the doggy wandering about, and he hasn't peed on anything yet. So that's another good part. Is he hasn't peed on anything yet or pooped. But so he's well behaved, and that's good. So. But, yeah. But you're smart and they're not. That's probably true. Rudy left a message last night. He thought it was to Tuberville saying they needed to stall, and he asked for Tuberville to object to 11 states. This was after the riot. Can you send that to me on Discord, or have someone else send that to me on Discord? I would appreciate that. Again, over the next couple of days, we're going to be unpacking a lot of what happened today. So if, like, today, or yesterday, I guess, is an event that will, again, reverberate for a while. So there's a lot of things that we're going to find. There's a lot of events, and I'm going to be covering them over the next couple of days, and it's not in any capacity related to the priority. It's not in any capacity related to the importance of these events. I'm just covering them as I see them. So that's all I'm doing. Hey, Phil Smart. Jimothy Dore has been awfully quiet about what happened yesterday, or did I miss something? Solidarity against fascists is needed, apparently, desperately. People were telling me that Jimmy Dore is making a joke on his show last night about how, like, funny it was that, you know, all that stuff. They tried to object Wisconsin and they forgot to sign the objections. That's really funny. Feel free to send me a highlight or whatever. Do I have any family that are QAnon freaks? I have one person in my immediate family that is a Trumper. Over the course of summer, they were getting into QAnon, and I think that I, as well as the rest of my family, were able to stop them from getting too far gone. But they didn't end up voting for Donald Trump, and they are telling me almost every single day how much they regret it and how correct I was. So it's a win. I'll take it as a win. But that's my experience with my direct family member. I'm not on Discord. The YouTube video is Giuliani voicemail from January 6th. Someone else, like, send it to me, please. And if I cover it tomorrow, I cover it tomorrow again. There's going to be a lot to unpack here, so I guess I should start getting unpacked. But this is a segment that I was going to do much later, but I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do this now, and this is inconsequential. And I'm using this to springboard, and there's a lot going on here that, again, a lot of these people are mostly irrelevant that I'm going to show here. A lot of these people are mostly understood to be bad actors, but a lot of them are not. And if I can provide any elucidation on why these people are bad, in the battlefield of ideas, I will do so. So, over the course of the last 24 hours, on Twitter, there were a lot of these so-called leftist accounts, people that purport to be leftists, and this is an alliance of red-brown kind of, at this point now it's very clear, that I've been focusing on over the last couple of weeks. This is the same crowd that told you if you vote for Joe Biden, you're evil, but never made a comment on whether or not to vote for Donald Trump. Some of them even said Trump was better than Biden, but most of them were like, if you vote for either one of them, you're garbage, right? And then their next grift was force the vote. Do you remember the last month of our collective lifetimes? On Twitter and YouTube and all the progressive media space, everyone's like, force the vote, force the vote, force the vote. Right? Everyone's like, force the vote. Calling AOC an evil corporate sellout, saying that we're going to go after her, saying that AOC is evil. These very same people, and I want to say this, and this needs to be explicit, and again, I was shocked at how one-to-one this line was. Now, I didn't look at Brianna Joy Gray's Twitter feed, but, you know, I'll hold out some hope on that one. But a lot of people sent me a lot of images of a lot of these so-called leftist accounts that for the last 1 month were spamming, force the vote, force the vote, force the vote for the last month. And then the last few days, fraud squad, these people. And so I've got a collection of screenshots, and this one here is primarily focused on Nico House. However, this Stardust person is also extremely problematic. So yesterday, Cory Bush unveiled legislation to attempt to expel members of Congress that were objecting to the electoral results and were inciting the coup. Because if you object to this election, you are inciting a coup. There was no election fraud. You are a dumbass. And so a lot of these people in this group, this Force the Vote group, were agreeing that it was an election fraud. I think I've got, here we go. Fiorella Isabel, which again, she is very heavily connected to Nico House, very connected to the Tulsi Gabbard Force the Vote crew, you know, connected to Brianna Joy Gray and Jimmy Dore, right? These people organized the Force the Vote rally 2 days before fascists stormed the Capitol. These guys were organizing the Force the Vote rally that only got like 30 people. So Fiorella says the protest was mostly nonviolent. Now this is at 10. This isn't at 10 a.m. This isn't like when it was just like, you know, people like screaming, "Stop the steal." This is at 10 p.m. This is after everything occurred. This person is writing this. And again, this is someone that hosts a podcast called The Convo Couch, I believe, which purports to be a left-wing podcast. They are connected to left-wing media circles. They claim to be left-wingers, and they are endorsing a fascist coup, and I need to highlight that. So this person says, the protest was mostly nonviolent. I suspect the people were allowed on purpose to prove a point that's beyond the scene, that's a behind-the-scenes ploy. Immediately after the MSM Twitter images of cops allowing people in, the entire establishment demanded impeachment and dismissal of fraud. Source: I was there. I was tear-gassed by just being there. The cops were not all in unison. So this person, what she is trying to do is say that this was all an inside job to distract people from election fraud. That's what this person is saying. This person claims to have a left-wing podcast. This person is heavily connected to left-wing podcasters. Right? So I just want that to be clear. Here's another one of the Stardust person. And again, these are leftist accounts that got like 5,000 followers that are podcast hosts and guests. These are not like random people. Some of them are semi-random. But these are people that if you are on left Twitter, you will see them pop up. If you are on left Twitter and you find their accounts, you will see that you have 100 mutual followers with these people. These are people that have sway in especially these forced to vote crew. Like, again, the line of 1-to-1, all the people who said forced to vote are all enabling a fascist coup is astounding. So this person says, hey lefties, this could be us, but you're still too busy pretending Nina, Corey, and AOC give two shits about us. So again, then this person, where was it? Was tweeting about, oh, Cory Bush wants to expel members of Congress? Fascist. It's not fascist to direct a group of 1 million people to storm the Capitol. That's fine. That's free speech. But what's fascist is to hold those people accountable for their actions. That's fascist. All of these people that are carrying water for fascism, Nico House, Sarcasm Stardust, whoever this person is, Fiorella Isabel, these people are fascists. These are Nazis. These are not socialists. These are not communists. These are not anarchists. Maybe if you want to be very, 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 very lenient, you can maybe call them tankies or authoritarian leftists. But let's be honest. That's not a thing. There is no such thing as an authoritarian leftist. What? So, okay, you want Medicare for all and a Green New Deal, but only for white people? Or only for cis people? Or only for straight people? And you're not a Nazi? Okay. There are some violent people, but there are also kids, elderly, and people simply fighting for election integrity. It's not a fascist storm of the Capitol. It's a Stop the Steal protest. They're fighting for election integrity. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And again, I've got more of these images here. And this is just what people sent me. I was streaming the whole day. So then you have this Mary Fonseca or whatever. This person is another person that, again, I see people retweet all the time. Let's read what they have to say. This is someone who claims to be a leftist. This is someone who coincidentally thought that Biden was worse than Trump. This is someone who coincidentally wanted to force the vote, and instead of forcing the vote or advocating for Medicare for all they did was talk about how AOC and Cory Bush are evil. This is someone who coincidentally did all those things and is now enabling and defending a fascist coup. I'm seeing a lot of leftists that sound just like the conservatives. People have a right to protest their government. This is at 5 p.m., by the way. This isn't at 12 p.m. This isn't, when it was just stop the steal, stop the steal. This was at 5 p.m. after the Capitol was ransacked. After these people stormed the Capitol. After someone was shot and killed by Secret Service. After it was exposed that a lot of these people had Molotov cocktails and pipe bombs that they brought into the Capitol. They brought pipe bombs into offices of members of Congress in the name not of forcing the vote, not of Medicare for all, not of a $2,000 stimulus check, you dumb so-called lefty. They were doing it in the name of Donald Trump. They brought pipe bombs into the Capitol building. Oh, but they're protesting the government. You sound just like the people saying that protesting is not the same as burning down the police station. There's a difference between burning down a police station. The police station, by the way, their only purpose is to occupy a city, right? Their purpose is not to legislate. Their purpose is not, to be a beacon of the definition of this country. And now, again, I don't like America. I don't like Americans. I don't like politicians, okay? But there is a far cry from citizens burning down Minneapolis' 3rd precinct and Trump-crazed goons trying to blow up the Capitol building. If you are equating those situations, you are garbage. You are not differing in ideas. You are not someone with a very out-of-the-box opinion. You are not someone with, who's really thinking. You are not, a noble, consistent debater. You are a piece of human garbage. Mary Fonseca, and I've got some more here. So we got some really bizarre tweets here. And again, this is after all of this stuff occurred. This isn't at 11:30 a.m. when Trump is delivering his speech and saying, oh, they just want to stop the steal. This isn't at 12:45 when they're marching over to the Capitol to, like, deliver a protest remarks. This is after the Capitol was ransacked, after the pipe bombs were reported, after Secret Service shot someone for trying to invade the Capitol building, after boxes of Molotovs were found, after people with zip ties were trying to, take hostage members of Congress. This is after all of that information came out. Calling protesters terrorists. Who else calls protesters terrorists? Oh, that's right, conservatives. Again, these are Nazis. I'm seeing a lot of leftists that sound like conservatives. People have the right to protest the government. If only the left had stormed the Capitol for Medicare for all, a $2,000 stimulus, a UBI, a Green New Deal, election reform, Assange, and against imperialism in a peaceful yet stern way. Instead, the right are doing it. It's not an instead. There is no instead. Oh, if we just forced the vote 2 days ago, would the Trumpers not have done this? That's their argument. That's these people's argument. Oh, if AOC, who is single-handedly standing in front of healthcare, forced the vote on January 4th, then this situation would not have occurred? What? I support protests against our government. They have not been harming us. They have been harming us and the rest of the world for decades. If you are against protests, then you are against one of the very few rights we are supposed to have. I am not against protests. By the way, interesting retweet here. Maria Fonseca retweeting Max Blumenthal. Interesting connection. Just throwing that out there. It's an interesting one. Again, if you are referring to Trump supporters as protesters in this institution, or in this instance, you are not a leftist, you are not a socialist, you're not a communist, you are not a libertarian socialist, you're not a libertarian, you are a fascist. You're not a tanky, you're not an authoritarian, you are a fascist. Plain and simple. MAGAs are overthrowing the Capitol, and resistors are tweeting MAGA is canceled. What a day in the United States of America. I'm actually rooting for the Capitol to be overthrown right now. Interesting, by the way, that this person says Capitol with an A, just throwing that out there. Illiteracy and ignorance is not surprising among these people. Again, they are fascist goons. These people, connected to the gray zone, connected to the Force the Vote movement, connected to Nico House, connected to Jack Posobiec, these are fascists being funded by fascists to enable fascism. That's what this is. They know that if they are able to convince maybe margins, 1%, 2% of left-leaning people that this coup is okay, maybe they would be more likely to get away with it. That's what these people's purpose is on this planet, is to carry water for fascism. And then we have this fucking weirdo. So AOC, this is at 8 p.m. After pipe bombs were discovered at the U.S. Capitol, this dumb motherfucking fascist goon decided to mock AOC, who was currently at this point barricaded in an office, scared for her life, because Republicans, at the behest of some of the Force the Vote people, know that AOC is an enemy. AOC has higher name recognition in Republicans than she does in Democrats. The reason is because they want to kill her. This person, JV Graz on Twitter, they've got like 30,000 followers or something, right? This person has been enabling a smear campaign against AOC, saying AOC is evil, saying AOC is a scumbag, and AOC is single-handedly in the way of our healthcare. This person has been carrying water for fascists, and after the fascists try to kill her and the rest of the members of Congress, he applauds the fascists and mocks AOC. These are not leftists. These are not organizers. These are not socialists. These are not communists. These are not tankies. These are Nazis. Nazis, by the way, that are occupying a slightly different media space. Nazis in the 1940s knew not all of them could say the same thing. They knew that some of them would have to act as the pipeline to bring other people to the Nazi propaganda that they were going to espouse. They paid people to promote their propaganda in unions, in union meetings. They paid people to promote their propaganda with their families. Because it's a lot easier to accept a narrative if it's your friend telling you and not the president or the Fuhrer. Because you'll respect your friend a lot more than you'll respect the Fuhrer. And in this conversation, in this context, these force the vote people, these are your friend. These are the people that have been paid off. These are the fascists. Now, they might not be wearing the brown shirts. They might be wearing the jeans and the blue collar. That doesn't change that these people are operatives that want to kill you. They don't care about trans rights. They don't care about women's rights. They supported anti-abortion, anti-trans politicians. They don't care about healthcare. They use it as a cudgel to convince you to team up with neo-Nazis. Because guess what? If you team up with neo-Nazis, the neo-Nazis notice that you're trans, gay, right? They will kill you. They will kill you. They will not hesitate. I know a lot of people that have been beaten at protests by Trump supporters because they got sussed out as being trans or gay. That's what these people are telling you to ally with. These people want, oh, but you agree on healthcare. 80% of Americans agree with healthcare, so let's team up with fascists that want to kill trans and gay people? Interesting. So again, I've been on top of this for the last month or so. I've been going after the force the vote people because I knew that they were bad actors. I sniffed them out. And if you, at some point, in some capacity, right now at 10:47 a.m. or whenever you see this on January 7th, not 6th, if you are still defending these gray zone, Jimmy Dore, force the vote goon squads after they've enabled and defended a fascist takeover of our government that would leave, by the way, if the fascists took over the government, they would kill the trans people, they would kill the gay people, they'd probably kill all the people of color, and they'd probably enslave women because that's what they want. So, when you enable that, or when you endorse that in any capacity, I'm sorry, you are not a leftist. And again, I've been following these people's grifts for the last month now. You can go back on my channel. I said the same thing a month ago that I said now. These people are enabling Trumpism in left media spaces. And now again, I don't know how many leftists were successfully contorted over to Trumpism or would, but if you are getting thousands of likes on your tweets for saying, like, oh, this could be us, but you playing, I'm sorry. You are a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. The most charitable, the most generous way that I could describe someone in the force the vote dumb left is a dumb motherfucker. A dumb motherfucker. Possibly dumber than Donald Trump himself. Donald Trump is rich. He doesn't care, right? There's a difference between knowing, right, that you don't care about everyone else and then claiming that you do for a certain, like, you only care about certain groups, right? And then there's a difference between that Donald Trumpism, and then saying, oh, I care for everyone. Medicare for all. Black Lives Matter, everyone. Isn't the Trump supporter getting killed by Secret Service the same as Breonna Taylor getting killed? It's the same thing. I had people tell me that on Twitter this morning. This morning, people were saying that police brutality is as bad as when a Trump supporter gets killed storming Congress by Secret Service. That's bad. That's as bad, if not, like, even, that's worse than cops operating on a faulty warrant to kill someone in their home while they're sleeping. These sick motherfuckers are comparing the death of a Trump supporter storming the Capitol to Breonna Taylor. Why? Because they are Nazis and they're being paid to do so. They are either being paid to do so or they are gullible and following in lockstep the orders of someone else that's being paid to do so. These are not good faith actors. These are not people that disagree. These are edgy teenage children being paid to promote divisive Nazi-adjacent rhetoric in the United States of America within left-wing media spaces. Fact. And I want to say explicitly, my platform is available. If any of them find this video, if any of them think I'm libeling them or smearing them, you're welcome to come on my show anytime. Well, maybe not anytime, but any day. I stream every single day. But, I'm not going to talk to you at like 3 in the morning, right? But any day you can come on my show, any day, and we can have this conversation. But they won't. I've asked them every single time. I've asked these people, hey, you want to come on my podcast and talk about Force the Vote? They say no. Hey, you want to come on my podcast and talk about Jimmy Dore and Force the Vote? No. Hey, you want to come on my podcast and give a defense of what the strategy of Force the Vote is? No. They don't want to debate. Why don't they want to debate? They don't care about free speech. It's free speech for them, but not for us. Because all they care about is getting their narrative out there. They don't care about the battlefield of ideas. They don't care about righteous debate. They care about propagandizing as many people as they can. And they know if they were to come on my show, that I wouldn't fuck around. They know that if they were to come on my show, that they wouldn't be able to propagandize anyone and it would be a waste of their time. And so, as a result, they won't waste their time. But if someone sees this, any of the people I called out, anyone that agrees with them, and you want to debate me, send me an email, send me a message. You know where to find me. Anyway, I had to do an extended segment on these people. I'm sorry. As someone in left-wing media, you know, again, I'm at this point I get like 90 viewers a stream, right? Which, by the way, I'm still trying to figure out why 90 people are watching me right now. But as someone in this space, right, I feel like I have a responsibility to tell you if someone else in the space, who you might find via YouTube's algorithm, you never know. Like, you might find an episode of the Convo Couch on my YouTube feed, because they claim to be left-wing. So you might go watch one of these people's episodes and you might think, oh wait, maybe there is verifiable claims of election fraud. No, there's not. Right? That's what these people are preying on. They're preying on the YouTube algorithm. They're preying on you stumbling upon their videos and saying, I want healthcare too. And then saying, oh, this person who wants healthcare, they're reasonable. And they say that there's some election integrity issues. Well, they're reasonable. Therefore, maybe there is. Maybe I'll be a little bit more lenient to a fascist takeover of our government. That's their strategy. Ellen Stonehill, would you like to send me Jimmy's video? Or have, like, can someone else send me Jimmy's video on Discord or whatever? I don't know what Vaush has been saying versus Vaush's chat. I don't, like, what is that? During a bunch of the fake left I checked yesterday went radio silent on Twitter for 15 to 20 hours. They went radio silent. I'm sorry if I've got some reflux here. I'm drinking black coffee and that kind of upsets my stomach. Okay, I want to give you all a little, you know, let's have a little intermission here. So I discovered coffee 2 years ago. I had never had a cup of coffee until 2 years ago. I guess 3 years ago technically. But that was like a latte and that was like a Starbucks like thing. So it's like, is that really coffee? No. So 2 years ago was when I made my first cup of coffee, like myself. Like I bought coffee grounds and I made a cup of coffee and I was like, all right. And I usually drink black coffee. However, over the last 6 months, I've noticed that black coffee has made my stomach a little bit more upset. And I've done some research into this, and it is because black coffee, depending on how concentrated the coffee is, has a high acidity level and can disrupt the pH system in your body. So I've been mixing my coffee with a little bit of protein-infused almond and cashew milk. That's what I got in my fridge right now. Sometimes I do soy, sometimes I do cashew, sometimes I do oats, sometimes I do almond. Right now I've got a specific weird protein blend. And that's been doing me pretty well. But anyway, hey Waldorf. Anyway, that's all I got to say on coffee. Hello everyone. I've got so much more I want to talk about. I spent 50 minutes talking about this. The show literally hasn't even started yet. I've got Tom Cotton I want to talk about. I've got Tucker Carlson I've got so much shit to talk. Again, I'm going to be covering January 6th for a while. There's going to be a lot of shit I'm going to talk about tomorrow. I might even do a whole nother episode later today. I'm not sure if I'm able to do so, but you can direct me to low acid coffee. I'd appreciate that. I like trying all kinds of different coffee. It's been one of my favorite things. I mean, I can drink black coffee like with no issues. This is my second cup of black coffee. And then like, you know, about an hour into drinking and I'm starting to like, you know, get the little acid thing. So it's like, one of my things is like, I like countering it with water. Take a sip of coffee, a sip of water, and it usually prevents that. But again, I don't know. I'm new to coffee. I've only been at it for 2 months, or 2 years. Before that, before coffee, I was downing like 4 Monster Energies a day, so, you know, what are you gonna do? I think coffee is a little bit healthier than Monster Energies, but, what are you gonna do? I really would love to try hemp milk. Someone help me out. High pH water. I mean, this is not, like, I was just giving you a little, like, tidbit of here. I'm not, like, I don't know, like, I'm not here to evaluate my whole life when it comes to coffee. Like, if you want to send me some tips, that's fine, but, let's get into the news. I want to, like, again, I've got a guest lined up. We're going to have, Kennedy from the Not Safe for Wonks crew hop on. And we were originally going to talk about the Jimbo Dumbo people, but now we'll probably end up talking about how the Jimbo Dumbo people and the fascists are the same people. So I guess, you know, we'll see. You have DM to highlight. I'll look at that later, man. Okay, okay. Again, I'm gonna have to do a couple of shows to unpack everything that happened. So again, the things that I'm talking about are not in any priority here, and I want to make that explicit. I don't think that this is of high priority to talk about Tom Cotton. I don't. I think it is of a priority. Is it of a high priority? No, I don't. But I think it is of a priority of some kind, and I saw this in my feed, and so I'm going to comment on it. And so this is Tom Cotton. He uploaded this on his Senate account on YouTube. I'm going to subscribe to him. I think it's useful. So this is an 8-minute video. I'm going to play it on like 1.25x, and I'm probably just going to let it play the whole time. Tom Cotton is someone who has already been laying the groundwork for a 2024 presidential campaign, and so he is going to use this moment to kickstart that 2024 presidential campaign. He's going to use this moment to distance himself from the Trumpism inside the Republican Party while still claiming to be a Republican, even though those two things are the same. And this is what he's going to say the day after that his president that he voted for tried to destroy the United States government.
He's a U.S. veteran. Senator, good morning to you.
Morning, Steve.
On this Thursday morning, as we look in the rearview mirror about what happened yesterday, what do you want to say to the American people about the debacle on Capitol Hill?
Steve, I want to say that mob violence is never an acceptable form of political expression. Last summer, a lot of critics on the left said that I should not have said that we should use all available means to law enforcement to put down mob violence when insurrectionists gripped our streets, even if that meant sending in the troops. Yesterday, though, there's no difference. It shouldn't matter what kind of signs the mob carries before they become violent. There's no acceptable basis for mob violence. You want to know,
actually, Tom, what the difference was? The difference between those two things is one is an organic uprising of people that have had enough of being shot and killed by the cops. The other is a group of entitled middle class to upper class. Again, these are not DC residents. When DC residents come out in support of Black Lives Matter because they don't want to get shot, they live there. These people flew from all across the country to this rally. Donald Trump has been telling everyone to fly to DC for January 6th. He's been telling people to do that for months. He said to go to Washington on January 6th and we're going to stop the steal. He's been saying this for months. Ever since he lost the election, really? So to say that those two things are equivalent is ridiculous. And also, it's ludicrous that the law enforcement that tear gassed and murdered protesters over the course of the summer was nowhere to be found at the Capitol. The heart of American democracy, as these people call it. There were no law enforcement officials anywhere to be found. Right? That's why a Trump supporter was shot and killed. Because a Secret Service agent was in the midst of a chaotic situation, didn't know what was going on, probably was wondering where the rest of the cops were, and saw a bunch of angry people try to come after them and the people that they work for. So, where were the cops? You keep saying you're pro-law enforcement, send in the troops. Why did the Pentagon refuse to send in National Guard? Why, Tom Cotton? Well, let's see if he comments on it.
Violence in this country for political purposes. I want to express my gratitude to all those frontline Capitol police officers who protected senators, helped frail senators evacuate from the chamber, who tried to defend the perimeter of the Capitol and then cleared the Capitol of all of these insurrectionists. I'm grateful for them and the work that all the other law enforcement agencies that were called in to do to protect not just senators and representatives, but the staff and the support workers that we have around the Capitol.
Yep.
The Senate was delivered to the Democrats yesterday. Ossoff ended up beating Perdue, and that was announced yesterday afternoon or last night. And many Republicans are worried about what that means for the progressive movement. What do Republicans plan to do to ensure that some of these radical agendas are not passed?
Radical.
Yeah, Ainsley, obviously I'm disappointed that my good friends and great senators Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue didn't make it across the finish line. But
Now, again, I want to be explicitly clear. Tom Cotton is going to say that the Republicans that objected to the results are bad. And then he's also going to call those that were planning to object, those that were debatably the closest to Trump in the Senate because of the election. Oh, they're my good friends. They're my good friends. Oh, yeah. It's a shame that my good friends were trying to break the law and destroy democracy, but hey, they're my good friends. What are you going to do?
But congratulations to the Democrats for their victory. This is going to be a very, very closely divided Congress. It's literally evenly divided in the Senate, 50-50 now. And in the House, the Democrats have one of the smallest margins in modern times. So what the Republicans need to do now that this election is behind us is to focus on the radical agenda of the Democrats. Because they're coming in with a plan to raise your taxes and to defund the police, to slash military spending, to open our borders. And we cannot allow that to happen.
Well, Tom Cotton, why is defunding the police so bad? Like, we don't have any as it is. So, what are you gonna, like, might as well just chop off the rest of the fucking Hydra and get some fucking healthcare, some stimulus, right? Where's the cops? Oh, right. Right. Here were the cops. They were letting in the fascists. Right. I forgot.
Happen. And we've got to organize and we've got to concentrate on protecting everything that we believe and that we think is good for this country.
Senator, this wasn't a surprise that the Democrats thought they had an opportunity to take both seats, even though they were underdogs. You had Perdue with a commanding lead, 88,000 votes at least, and the other, Loeffler, the same thing, was in a command position. You were on the ground, I think, first week in November, saying, hey, this is a big election. How did you guys blow it?
Yeah, Brian, it's very disappointing that we lost the races, given the stakes of the races. I think a very simple and very clear message over the last 2 months would have been that Senators Perdue and Loeffler and a Republican Senate majority will provide a check and balance on the Biden administration. However, we spent too much time on other matters rather than that clear and simple matter of saying that Senators Perdue and Senators Loeffler and a Republican majority
It's almost like when your president that you voted for, that you endorsed, was saying that the election was stolen. It's almost like that idea, oh, they're going to be a stopgap against the Biden presidency. But when 50% of Republicans don't believe that Biden is going to be president, they're not going to go do that. You dumb piece of garbage, motherfucking clown-eared motherfucker.
Be that check and balance. But look, we can't just give up now because we lost. We got to pick ourselves up off the electoral playing field and dust ourselves off and get back going in the game. Because as I said, the Democrats have extremely small margins, but they have an extremely radical agenda, and we've got to be prepared to provide a check and balance on that agenda and get ready for the next election, which is always just 2 years away.
Sure. No doubt about it. Down there in Georgia, Stacey Abrams and company was very effective in mobilizing and registering people. I've been reading a lot of Republican and conservative commentators who say that one of the problems for Republicans was the fact that the president, while he voiced full support of the Republican candidates, at the same time, he was trying to blow up the Georgia governor and the Secretary of State, and he was confusing the people down there, saying the election was rigged and it was stolen from him. I know yesterday there in the U.S. Senate, you withdrew any objections because you wanted to go forward after the violence that was happening there. You also say that people need to quit misleading people about what happened on Election Day.
Yes, Steve, first off, let me correct one thing there. I was never planning to object to any of the certified slates of electors. It's not Congress's role to...
Well, yeah, you don't need to object, Tom. Your good friends did it for you. That's what this whole thing is. They only needed one senator to sign off on an objection. You only need one. So why would Tom Cotton go out there when your good friends, Kelly and David, oh, they're your friends, your pals, your beer buddies. What? When they do it for you, who cares?
reverse the election results from election day. If the
President was mad.
Sorry, you felt that people should withdraw their objections.
Yeah, look, you have some senators who, for political advantage, were giving false hope to their supporters, misleading them into thinking that somehow yesterday's actions in Congress could reverse the results.
Yourself, Tom Cotton, included. Being a Republican and not being vociferously anti-Trump created this situation. Anytime you voted with Donald Trump, anytime you endorsed Donald Trump, anytime you campaigned with Donald Trump, anytime you said anything nice about Donald Trump, you enabled what happened. But this guy's going to pretend it wasn't me. It was just my good friend. My best friend did it instead. It's not me. It's my best friend. Great argument.
Election, or even get some kind of emergency audit of the election results. That was never going to happen. Yet these senators, as insurrectionists, literally stormed the Capitol, were sending out fundraising emails. That shouldn't have happened, and it's got to stop now. Now,
again, those senators and those representatives are insurrectionists. Send them all to prison. Now, again, I said this before. I think the Republican Party should be declared a terrorist organization, and I think every Republican should go to prison. However, I'm willing to compromise. I'm going to pull out my Obama bootstraps here. I'm willing to compromise. Every senator and every representative who objected or was going to object, even if they withdrew, doesn't matter. I shot you in the face, but I put the gun away afterward. Okay? Well, you still shot someone in the face, so the crime was still there. So the people that incited this insurrection should all be held accountable and all be sent to prison. That's my compromise. That's my minimum position. That is my minimum position. I will accept nothing less, happily, than to see every senator and every representative that objected to these things going to prison. Expel them from Congress. Send them to Guantanamo. By my best friends, by the way. Those are my best friends were out there. We're beer buddies. I was actually in the bar and I saw David and Kelly on their Twitter page going like, blah, blah, blah. No, they're my best friends. My best friends just incited an insurrection that got people killed. Those are my best friends, by the way. How about arrest all of your best friends, Tom? You're in favor of law and order, right? You want to beef up the military, right? You want to have military occupy the country, right? Why not start with sending your best friends over to fucking prison for inciting an insurrection? Start with Donald Trump, by the way. What do you mean no sound from video? What does that mean? Turn up the audio on the video? What? My mic is on. It literally is on. No sound? What are you talking about? Look at this. Look. Look at the fucking audio bar. It's literally going up. Look. Hello? What do you mean no? What does that mean no? Has it been off the whole time? Has it what? Are you kidding? What? What the fuck? Are you kidding me? It went off in the middle? Well, goddamn. Well, I said what I needed to say, I think. That's weird. It's literally like it's on. Like, look at the fucking bar. Look. Look at the bar. It's moving. It's moving. The bar is moving. Like, hello? Can you hear this? Can you hear that? I'm sorry. I'm clueless. I have no idea what's happening right now. I'm literally playing other videos. Like, they're playing right now. Like, look. It's literally on. Like, it's on. Look, you can see look, it's on. It's literally on. I have never heard of this before. I have never heard of this. This is really bizarre. Hold up. When did it stop? And then it just didn't work. What? Yo, okay, I'm going to restart OBS. And we'll pick up from there. I am so sorry. I will be back in like literally one second. Hello? Is this thing back on? Is this back on? Is this back on? Real quick, I'm going to check my local recording and to see if that problem is present in that too. I want to make that explicit. What the fuck? Up the audio on the... It is. Is this... Can you hear this? Can you hear me coughing? Like...
Early in the morning, they went to the table with the black robe, the black shield.
I'm gonna be honest. I have been, and I want to like. I'm sorry if I got puzzled there, but like, I have been streaming for 8 years. I have been streaming almost every single day of my life for about 8 years, and I have never encountered a situation like that in my entire life. Like, again, you saw it. The OBS window literally had the video, like the audio being picked up. Like the audio was being picked up by OBS. So I have no idea. So, I said basically everything I needed to say about Tom Cotton. But, like, I don't know. If you can't hear him, that's, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't think it matters. I'm just gonna move on. But, I mean, that was so weird. That was like a really weird thing to occur. And,
in the integrity of our elections, and we shouldn't allow a once-in-a-century pandemic used to justify...
Can you hear that?
Did you use the word smart?
That's so bizarre. Again, I'm sorry. I'm puzzled by that. I have never experienced anything like that in my entire life. Wow. That's incredible. Anyway. So let's move on, I guess. Fuck. Okay, okay, so I want to talk about this. House Judiciary Democrats ask Pence to invoke 25th Amendment to remove Trump. Now, I want to say this explicitly. I think every single person in Trump's cabinet should go to prison. I think every single member of the Republican Party that objected to the election results in the Electoral College certification process should go to prison for sedition, treason, and inciting an insurrection. That is my opinion. But, if we want to take Trump out and have Pence be president for a week, okay. Let's read. The Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee sent a letter to Vice President Pence on Wednesday evening imploring him to invoke the 25th Amendment and remove President Trump from office. Representative David Cicilline shared the letter on Twitter, writing, "I am sending a letter with Rep. Ted Lieu and our colleagues on the House Judiciary Committee calling on Vice President Pence to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove Donald Trump from the office after today's events." In addition to Cicilline, the letter was signed by Reps. Cori Bush, who also introduced a legislation to expel members of Congress who endorsed the insurrection, or incited the insurrection by objecting to the electoral results. Steve Cohen, Madeline Dean, Ted Deutsch, Veronica Escobar, Sylvia Garcia, Sheila Jackson Lee, Pramila Jayapal, Hank Johnson, Mondaire Jones, whom, by the way, I can't click. I can click everyone else but Mondaire Jones. I think that that's homophobic, personally. Can someone back me up here? Like, what is that? That's really weird. Ted Lieu, Lucy McBath, Jerry Nadler, Joe Ngozi, Jamie Raskin, Mary Gay Scanlon, Greg Stanton, and Eric Swalwell have all signed on this letter to invoke the 25th Amendment. The push to end Trump's term before January 20th comes just hours after a pro-Trump mob stormed the Capitol as Congress was ratifying the Electoral College votes showing President-elect Joe Biden was victorious. It is with great sadness that we write to you following the incidents that unfolded at the U.S. Capitol today. As you presided over the U.S. Senate, angry supporters of President Trump attempted an insurrection, illegally storming and breaching the U.S. Capitol building to stop the certification of President-elect Biden's victory, the lawmakers wrote. They went on to cite the 25th Amendment to the Constitution, which provides an avenue through which the vice president and cabinet can remove a sitting president who is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. Even in his video announcement this afternoon, President Trump revealed that he is not mentally sound and is still unable to process and accept the results of the 2020 election, the lawmakers wrote to Pence. For the sake of our democracy, we emphatically urge you to invoke the 25th Amendment and to begin the process of removing President Trump from power. The president has shown time and time again he is unwilling to protect our democracy and carry out the duties of the office. Good. Now again, I think Trump and Pence and every cabinet member should go to jail. Prison. Not jail, prison. I think every objecting Republican in the Senate and the House should also go to prison. Not jail, prison. Presumably for the rest of their lives, though that's debatable if you want to debate on that. I think they should, yes, actually, you know what? Here's my take. Every member of the Republican Party should go to prison, and then they will only be released from prison when we have finally gotten to the point in our society where we can get rid of prisons altogether. Now, I am a prison abolitionist, right? But we still have them. So I say we take out all the nonviolent drug offenders, right? And put in all the Republicans and then try to work on getting rid of the prisons. Also, when you do that, I think it'll be a slightly easier process. So that's my compromise. All of these people need to be sent to jail. Now, again, do I think it would be worthwhile right now in the short term for Mike Pence to agree with the cabinet to get rid of Donald Trump? Yes. If that were to happen, agreed. But Mike Pence cannot whitewash himself. The cabinet cannot whitewash themselves. The Republican Party cannot whitewash themselves. We should not and cannot allow them to do so. We cannot allow them to do so. This is not a Trump problem. This is a Republican problem. This is not Trump. This is Pence. This is Bush. This is Palin. This is McCain. This is Romney. This is all of these Republican douchebag motherfuckers going all the way at least to Ronald Reagan. At least. If you want to be generous about it. Anyway, that's my opinion on that. God damn it. This is going to be a bitch to edit later because I have to break it up. I want to say thank you for the super chat, RH. A great critique. The privileged settler garrison militia flashed their ethno-ideology gold membership cards and were let in by the official garrison. Absolutely correct. That is abso-fucking-lutely fucking correct. So what I'm going to do here is I believe I have too much on my plate, for doing this all in this morning's show. And so what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to do a show later today, and I'm going to get through some more of these stories, but I'm going to transition into my guest segment, and we're going to set this up a little bit in a second here. We're going to transition to my guest segment, and we're going to talk. We were originally going to talk about Jimmy Dore and Force the Vote and how dumb it is, and then, you know, all this happened, right? So, I mean, we'll see. We'll figure it out. But, yeah, so thank you all for listening to the show so far. And, again, I might do another show, and I might do, like, a part 2 later today. If not, I'll be doing tomorrow, absolutely. I stream, for those of you that are new here, I stream every single day at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if that's, you know, a time where you're awake, hit me up. If it's not a time where you're awake, then fuck you. And so that's what I've got going on here. And yeah, so again, there's a lot to talk about, and I want to again say that there is no priority in how I cover this stuff. I am only covering it in when I see it. So, and again, I will be covering a lot of this over the next maybe years. I don't know. Like this might be like who knows? Like I have no idea. But you know, again, no priority when it comes to this. I will be covering these things as I get the opportunity and as I read through them, in order to provide to you you know, a factual and unbiased, but also a biased in a good direction, source of entertainment and news. So what I'm going to do real quick is turn the stream off for like 10 seconds and set up the guest segment, and I will be right back. So if you leave, I will ban you from the chat. If you leave, you will never be able to come back. And you can... I've at least started streaming. I've at least started recording. Whether or not that is good is that remains to be seen. Well, and so we'll figure this out. But I would like everyone to give a warm, because it is very cold, welcome to Kennedy from the Not Safe for Wonks network of wonks. And if you are a wonk, I am afraid that you should leave the stream, as now you are in dangerous territory here. So
it's true.
What is your at again? I'm so sorry.
At Kennedy T. Cooper.
T. Cooper. Is that your middle name?
There's a T, yeah.
There's a T. Okay.
In the middle.
Is that like, okay, all right. All right. So.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so everyone, welcome. This is Kennedy from the Not Safe for Wonks group of individuals that wonk. And so we were originally going to be talking about Jimmy Dore and Force the Vote. I think we set this up like last week or whatever, this conversation. And needless to say, a lot has happened over the course of the last week. And so yeah, what do you think about Jimmy Dore? Start off.
Jimmy Dore is just an asshole.
Not good. Definitely not good.
I don't want to just launch into straight diatribe, but it's hard not to, because I'm just so tired of this piece of shit getting so much attention, and just getting to do whatever he wants all the time and getting treated like that's just okay. Like, he's just allowed to just behave in a way that other people would absolutely never get away with. And you know, that's just like the privilege of being a rich straight white guy, right?
Literally. Yeah, literally. Like, and again, if you even point out that he's like a rich straight white guy and all of his targets are poor, like, young brown women, if you even point that out, it's identity politics. Are you an SJW? Are you a woke Dem? Oh, the woke politics. Oh, the Democrats are woke. Like, what? And again, I did this segment earlier of how there's like this huge cross section of like these people, and I don't want to put you in, you know, if I shout someone out in a negative light that you know and you want to comment, that's fine with me. But you know, I'm making a lot of enemies right now. All of these people connected to Jimmy Dore, the Gray Zone. I've had a lot of like mysterious interactions with those individuals. And And a lot of these like weirdo left Twitter accounts that did not exist last year, but now all of a sudden have like 10,000 followers, right? Like I want to go into this because this is something that I think I've been covering the force the vote scam and grift and conspiracy theory for. I like calling it a conspiracy theory because it's an unprovable thing. And it's kind of like if we force the vote, then something happens, and they never tell you what the something is. It's kind of like you just have to have faith. When the vote is forced, then we win.
The healthcare is coming.
Yeah, right.
It's coming.
So like I've been covering this a lot over the last month, mostly because it gives me a lot of viewers, and I love that shit. And second of all, because I think it's problematic that there's these people that are trying to occupy the space that I'm in, right? And I lost like hundreds of subs when I started going after Jimmy. All these people are like, I thought you were cool. Now, I know that I was watching your stream for 7 months as you were going after politicians and saying that we need to abolish police. But now, all of a sudden, you're a corporate sellout. And it's like, imagine imagine literally watching my stream of all people and thinking I'm a corporate sellout. Like, it's bizarre.
Someone literally called me a scab. Which, like, first of all, you're just misusing a word that has a meaning. Like, at a certain, like, even if you disagree with me and you want to use some kind of harsh term, that's not the one because it doesn't apply. Like,
they just think any word that they hear other people use, sounds good, I'll throw it in. I hear left-wing people say scab, therefore I know everything. Like, that's
and then some of those same people who are like, you're a scab if you don't 100%. And for the record, I wasn't even 100% against force the vote. I even called a couple of my reps. Like, y'all can fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, same here. Like, I am not against the idea whatsoever. I'm against the energy behind the idea, and that you have. And I was like, I would rather force the vote on housing guarantee. That was my response to these people, and they say Medicare is more important than housing. First of all, 40 million people can't pay rent, and Medicare is more important than housing. Like, if you're going to be homeless, chances are you're not going to be in a good... What's being homeless and having healthcare access? What is that? What? Hey, doc, I'm homeless, and I just caught a COVID because I'm homeless, and now I've got free healthcare, so treat me. Why not just prevent them from being homeless? But these people all have houses, so they don't care about housing rights because they've got houses, right? I don't know. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm getting into it.
No, I know. You know, the funny thing... Okay, so one person in particular came after me about, because I pointed out that Jimmy Dore's really well off and there's nothing at stake for him here. And one person came after me. This is just like when people attack Bernie Sanders about his money. No, it's not. First of all, when people attack Bernie Sanders about his money, it was to specifically discredit the idea that he could be a socialist and have any amount of money. Okay, that's a different argument than the argument that I'm making. I'm not saying that Jimmy Dore can't be a rich leftist. I'm saying that if you're going to accuse me of speaking from a place of privilege about this issue, that you should think about who the fuck you're defending. A rich, straight, white man.
And it's also, again, how did these people get their money? They're making this dumb fuck comparison. How did Bernie get his money? He wrote a book on how the world can be a better place. That's how we got his money. How did Jimmy Dore get his money? By making videos about how AOC is a corporate sellout scumbag. There's a difference, right? If someone is being paid to write a book on the world being a better place, they're probably they're going to have a more, like, you know, with the way money works, they're going to have more of an incentive to make the world a better place, or at least to write more books on why the world should be a better place, which could inspire other people to want to make the world a better place. Now let's follow Jimmy Dore's money. Jimmy Dore is getting thousands of dollars. When the Force the Vote town hall happened, he restreamed it, right? The People's Party. It's the People's Party event. They only had 1,000 views. Jimmy Dore's version of the stream, which is just him screen recording, had 15,000. And he was monetizing, getting thousands. Literally, he got $5,000 at least of super chats. I didn't do all the math, right? During a stream where he was monetizing people crying about their dead relatives, right? And then right afterward, he was like, and it's all AOC's fault. Right? That's where his money is coming from. He's getting paid to attack AOC. Now again, and I want to be explicit, I am getting paid to attack Jimmy Dore. But guess what? You want to know what the difference is? I'm telling you that. You know that I'm getting paid to attack Jimmy Dore because I'm telling you. Jimmy Dore is not telling anyone that he's getting paid to attack AOC.
No,
And-
he pretends like there's nothing in it for him.
Yeah, and this is my thing, is like, I guarantee you this dumb motherfucker clicked stop stream on YouTube and then sees like the total stats and is like, wow, I'm a really good streamer. I did a really good job today. Look at me, I'm really funny. They love my comedy. I guarantee you that's what this guy thinks. It's like, oh, they must have
100%.
really loved my comedy today.
So listen, not everybody that was involved with Force the Vote, in my opinion, is a piece of shit. Especially not, like, small people.
No, absolutely.
Like, a lot of small people got involved because you believe in healthcare, and that's fine.
Absolutely.
And there were some bigger names that got involved.
Like, very explicit, and then I saying it's the top-down thing that I was disliked. And the abuse of all these people who genuinely want healthcare. So I just want to be very explicit there. So go on.
And I want to be clear that, like, I'm not trying to say that every single Force the Vote organizer is sus. And that we can't trust any of them. I think there were a few of them in particular that seemed to have reasonable arguments for this stuff. I thought, Brianna Joy Gray had a relatively reasonable point about why we should do this and where it would go compared to a lot of the others, as just like a for instance. And so, like, I could see how someone would see that and maybe be convinced. I'm not so sure how someone could watch Jimmy Dore and be convinced of anything in particular other than that he's an idiot. But
he's angry. Why aren't you angry?
So I want to be clear about this because I'm about to make a very spicy accusation, though.
Oh shit!
So that's why I'm framing this so carefully, because I definitely want to be clear that this is not all the Force the Vote people or all the Force the Vote organizers.
Well,
but it's definitely
when I
interesting.
click this, I'm going to make sure that I get rid of the preamble, and I'm going to take you out of context. So just so you know.
I love that for me. It's definitely interesting to note that a lot of these people who were Force the Vote weirdos, who were like weird about it, also were against Alphabet unionizing, also were weirdly praising of the actions at Congress yesterday by MAGA heads. So where do y'all stand? Because those are all reactionary viewpoints.
Yeah, these are all people, and again, most people are reactionary, most people are emotional.
Yes.
That's the default state. But when you've got a Twitter account, right, that has 13,000 followers on it, and you are no different than your average person when it comes to the commentary that you espouse, I think that that's a problem. I think that you in this ethereal person, have a right, given the platform and your size, do you have a right to know what the fuck you're talking about? That's a right, like, in my estimation. I'm gonna turn this off real quick and move Discord. All right, keep going. Yes. All right, we're back. I'm so sorry. I had to move a window around. Mudjo's sending me scoops. What do we got?
Gotta
Trump
have the
campaign
scoop.
lawyer who said there was a non-zero number of Republicans observing Philly vote count asked to withdraw. Well, cold feet, huh? I didn't know that they would do this. And that's the bullshit thing. It's like, I really, like, when Tom Cotton's going on there and saying, like, oh, this is a bad idea. It's like, where did this come from? It's like, oh, I wonder where this came from.
Oh, I wonder.
And then I also want to say, and we can have a healthy disagreement on this. I don't exactly know your position, but when I was doing a lot of my research into a lot of these people over the last month, when the Force the Vote grift started, I noticed that most, if not all of these people that are involved in this are people that would say, Joe Biden is just as bad as Donald Trump. This is a very similar reactionary viewpoint of people that would say, Trump might be the lesser evil. Or, if you vote for Biden, you're a corporate sellout. Do you remember that kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, isn't it weird that those same people then go to Force the Vote, and then those same people are going to, oh, maybe the Republicans storming Congress was a good thing, actually. And then I had someone this morning say that, oh, you're against police brutality? Because I made a tweet about how the Trumper died, and I thought it was funny because they literally died. Like, they were bleeding out. Their last moment on this earth was their blood getting drenched on a Trump cape. Like, imagine that, right? Like, it's funny. Like, it's funny. And I'm sorry if you can't find the humor in that, that's fine.
There's poetry in that moment.
And then I got some dumb motherfucker who's like, well, if you're in favor of that, then you must be in favor of Breonna Taylor being killed. And it's like, like these are the same people, isn't it? Like these have to be like now I want to tell you this because you love money, you are addicted to money as much as we are. So if someone were to come to you in private and say, hey, I'm willing to fund you and give you $35,000 a month on your Patreon, for example, would you be willing to listen to me and, have conversations with me and, maybe say the things that I'm saying on your show? Like, if someone were to come at me and say, hey, $35,000, here's some talking points, I'd be tempted, right?
I'd certainly look at the list of talking points.
Absolutely.
Right?
And if you already have this,
I'm not too proud to say I would just throw it out or anything. No, I would look at the list of talking points to see if I felt it was agreeable.
And my thing is, and I've been, I've been really pontificating on this, so if I sound too pompous, you gotta check me here. But I think that this is a concrete strategy by certain people, to deorganize what Bernie 2020 almost became, because Bernie almost won. You think they're just going to, okay, Biden's the president or the nominee now, let's pretend that never happened. No, they are going to stop Bernie 2024 or whatever equivalent. They want to stop it in its tracks. And what better way to do that would be to fund, like, the communications manager and the press secretary of the Bernie campaign to, I'm just throwing this out there, right? And if Brianna wants to come on my show and disperse these lies, that's fine. But to fund them and Jimmy Dore and the Gray Zone and all these other weirdo pseudo-left outlets to start saying, hey, maybe you shouldn't vote for Biden. And then that's going to be a divisive moment. And then some of these people are like, maybe there was some election fraud. Like that Convo Couch dumbass is like, maybe there's some election fraud. Maybe. And then like Brianna Joy Gray is doing these events with Nico House, who's working with Jack Posobiec. Like, you are not going to convince me that there's no money here. Like seriously,
Nico's an intelligence agent. I'm just gonna...
Absolutely. And if they're not, then they should knock on CIA's door and ask for a paycheck.
He's literally a former intelligence agent. Do y'all know what a former intelligence agent is? There's no such thing. There's no such thing. Okay, y'all. If you don't understand that, then you don't know much about how these things work. I'm sorry. You just don't. You need to look into it because they do not let these people go. Yeah, sure, they might take you off like full-time salary, right? But
you've got that one last mission. You go out there and you fuck shit up in the left media space. That's the last mission. And we'll let you keep all the Patreon dollars and stuff, right? Like,
if you're ever hurting for money, you know who to call, and you know that they will just write a check on the spot. $100,000 and they'll send it to you. And we were talking about would we take money earlier. One thing I will say is anybody that I take money from and Not Safe for Wonks has done this for our only partnership that we have, which is with an ethical video games company. Then whenever we take money, we just tell you that that's what we're doing. Okay. And if I ever take money from anybody, I will tell you that that's what I'm doing. Okay. But these people are not going to do that. We don't know where all their money comes from. They don't say, they don't have to, and they will never in a lot of these cases.
I want to just give you this and like let's say you've got $5 million earmarked for making sure there's no such thing as Bernie 2024. You got $5 million, right? It's set aside. How do I make sure that there's no left-wing presidential campaign ever again, right? Is it really, and you're a YouTuber and all that, you're a podcaster, you've been in this space, right? I've been in this space. Is it really that far-fetched for you to imagine someone funding a bunch of YouTube accounts to give like $50 super chats to Jimmy Dore to say, like, AOC is a scumbag, and then Jimmy Dore is going to see that, $50 to say AOC is a scumbag, and then that's going to make him say AOC is a scumbag, and then that's going to make more people say AOC, like, do you not realize how easy it is to launder money via podcasting?
Yes.
Like, again, also, why does Bad Faith have $35,000 a month? Like, I don't know. That's a little sus to me. I'm sorry. It's a little sus.
Also, let's be real. It's not like these people that we're talking about don't know how these platforms work. The Army Recruitment has their own fucking Twitch channel. Like, they know how this shit works. They're not ignorant to being able to fucking get online and launder money through Twitch or whatever. If it's even that subtle, because again, we don't know where all of Jimmy Dore's money comes from. If he did a financial disclosure, there might just be $10,000 a month coming from fucking the CIA or whatever, and we would never know because he doesn't have to disclose that stuff. He's not a politician.
I can't wait for Jimmy Dore's 2024 People's Party run, and then he's gonna go Trump and say, my tax returns, we're working on them. We're working on them. There's a lot of corporate sellouts that want to see my tax returns. Don't worry, we're working on them. I can't wait for the 2024 Jimmy Dore run. It's gonna be great. You know that's what's happening, right? Like you gotta know that. It's gonna be so good. Oh my god. You bet your sweet asshole I'm going to make like so many Jimmy Dore videos when he's running for president. It's gonna be great.
I just want to say the whole movement for a People's Party thing in general feels weird to me.
It's an op.
It feels
100%.
Weird to me.
It's an op. I like, oh my god, it's so bad.
Now, I wouldn't say it's 100% an op because I have spoken to some like lower level MPP organizers that I can promise you are sincere.
No, that's the thing. It's top down. It's top down.
Yeah, it's top down again. I just want to be clear about that because like there are some people involved with that are real political organizers who know what they're doing and are trying to do something real. The problem is their efforts are not going to go anywhere with these people at the top who are going to just recreate the Green Party again, essentially.
Yeah, look at the Green Party. Like, you had everyone coalesce around Howie Hawkins and then just deny Dario Hunter ballot access in certain states. Like, I didn't follow either of them that much. You know, I didn't really know what their debates were about. But just the sheer fact that Dario wasn't allowed on certain ballots, that's enough for me to say, fuck the Green Party. Right?
And the thing is that's entirely orchestrated by the fact that there is an in-group of like corrupt power holders that control the Green Party. Do you not see that same dynamic trying to play out now with MPP?
Literally.
Of course you should. Anybody who's looking at this
It's
should
the
realize
Nick
there's
Brana
already
party.
a problem.
That's what it is.
There's already a lack of accountability. And like, I am not a Ryan Knight hater by any means, but I just want to say that like him being elected as the whatever chair something spokesperson, I can't remember what position.
That doesn't mean anything.
When was that election and where was
that election was right after the town hall, and by town hall I mean podcast. It's so dumb. Oh, like remember when Jimmy Dore's like, they didn't show up at my town hall. What town hall? It was a podcast. Like, a politician didn't come on my show is what he's saying, but he's like saying, oh, it's a town hall, it's from a serious political party. It's like, no, it's not. It's not.
Like, when you make a point of making sure only your political insider groups are going to be at voting and that you just keep electing like the like celebrity figures that like headed the thing since the beginning, like that's just the beginnings of a nepotistic cycle. I'm sorry. And I assure you that not everybody involved with it realizes that this is what they're doing. I'm sure a lot of them, again, have like good faith reasons for wanting to do what they're doing, but they are unfortunately being probably manipulated by people who don't, because the whole MPP thing is going to be a disaster the way it is currently being positioned. There is no coherent plan that is going to like really make a significant difference in our politics. It is literally just Green Party again. Now
it's the Green Party, but you're restarting all the work that was already done 20 years ago. So it's the Green Party, but somehow, and this is unfathomable to me, but somehow it's worse. Like this.
We also, on our show, we've spoken to NPP organizers, National Progressive Party, which is another group thinking about like how to create like a viable third party. They have a freaking 40-year plan that involves setting up campaign offices all over the country that would allow people to run without having to set up their own infrastructure and all kinds of stuff. Like, it's a completely different, it's night and day. You know?
They're actually trying to do something.
Now, is either one going to work? Not necessarily, but at least when I talked to National Progressive Party people, I knew that, like, they had a realistic idea about what could be accomplished and how, even if like they knew that they were fighting a very difficult uphill battle. The NPP, it's just the same fantasy as the Green Party, and the Green Party got less votes than Kanye West. Kanye West
did a meme tour, right? And for like a couple months, and then like no one took him seriously, and he got more votes than a party that's been trying to act super serious for the last 20-30 years.
And I just want to be clear, Howie Hawkins was like the Barack Obama of the Green Party in terms of like, he's like the best candidate they could have had on a lot of levels in terms of like activating their base and blah, 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 like whatever. Like Howie should have been the candidate to activate the Green base more than like anyone they've put up in a long time. Not necessarily more than anyone else who ran, because the primary was a whole thing, but more than any candidate the Green Party has put up basically hardly ever. Howie should have been an activating and mobilizing personality for their party that did okay numbers. Like, the fact that they were not able to get numbers for Howie Hawkins just means that their party is fucked. Like,
it's a dumb party. It's dumb. It's just dumb. And I know you're trying to sugarcoat. You're trying to do that whole, like, look at me, I'm a podcaster. I'm going to, like, say big words. No, it's just dumb. That's what I'm going to say. It's just dumb. I'm sorry. The Green Party, I asked some Green Party people to come on my show, and they wouldn't, so now I hate them.
That's fair. Yeah, I just, like I say, if they could not pull off better than Kanye West, there's just nothing to it. There's no substance to it. And the movement for People's Party looks like the same or worse right now.
Way worse.
just ridiculous. And here's the thing. Here's what makes it most weird to me. And again, I don't necessarily think everybody involved is an op, but if there were people involved that were doing this as an op, this would definitely be their reasoning.
Exactly.
Is that we almost got the Democratic Party to concede power to the progressive movement. They almost had to concede power. And the only reason that they were able to not do that is by literally using every dirty trick they could think of.
Like, literally, they dusted off the cheat codes of the action replay and they plugged that fucker in. That's the thing, is like, and again, you think they're all just gonna pretend, oh, there's a pandemic and everyone just forgot that Bernie almost won the nomination. You know, again, these are billionaires. You think Michael Bloomberg isn't gonna spend a couple $1 million just causing some shit in YouTube media? Like, what? You think Michael Bloomberg isn't going to just drop even $1 billion, like, even that, could you imagine what damage you could do? But even $1 million, right? $1 million divided among, like, fucking 10 YouTube mainstream, like, you know, the mainstream of the progressive left YouTube. I don't know. They've got this weird, like, I call them mainstream, but they're technically, you know, but they're their version of it. And they don't realize that they are their version of mainstream, and it's kind of like creates this awful, like, weirdo feedback loop. But, just funneling them to all hate each other on Twitter is the easiest way to do it. And again, you get the Bernie press secretary involved. That's going to divide everyone. She was the most public figure of the Bernie campaign, right? And I loved Brianna Joy Gray up until this whole force the vote thing. I'm very skeptical at this point. Now, again, she can theoretically get back in my good graces for whatever that's worth. But, like, the whole enabling of Jimmy Dore's rampage. And then again, when push came to shove and fascists invaded the Capitol, all these motherfuckers were saying, oh, isn't this great? The left should do this. Like, what? The left should do that? That's going to get people killed.
Do this.
That they will get them killed. If you say the left is going to storm the Capitol, you are killing your followers. That's what that is. That's what that is.
Listen, BLM came out with 10 times the numbers to the Capitol earlier this year. And do you know what the Capitol steps looked like? It looked like a war zone. They had National Guard troops in full body armor lining. No one even got onto the steps. No one even got on to the steps during the BLM protests, okay? Because they had a fucking, like, just a phalanx of just chuds in fucking Kevlar just standing there going...
Like, I'm literally, like, they gotta be clones or something, because where were they? Were they, like, still in the cryo chamber or something? Like, where were they yesterday? They were just gone. They were gone.
Well, no, where were they yesterday? Hey, nobody asked where's Miley when Hannah Montana's on stage.
Exactly! They all called in sick that day. I wonder why. But that's
some
the
of them
thing.
were there for sure, guaranteed.
It's like they probably just went into the bathroom, took the uniform off, and came back out. And like, you know, but like
they were posing. Listen, law enforcement was posing with protesters and taking photo ops. They opened the barricades so that they could get access to the Capitol steps. They were reported as saying on record, we're not sure about the optics of sending out a highly militarized looking police force for this event.
A lot of the streams caught like police chatter on like, you can, like, when I was streaming the whole thing, some of the streams I had, like, they had cops in the background. You can just hear them talk, you know?
Yeah, so same on our stream.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of, like, and they just openly talked about it. And they're just like, yeah, whatever. Fuck it. And then the guy took a selfie on stream. Like, a selfie enough, like, you're taking a selfie. Like, that's a picture. You're taking evidence alone. But you're gonna do it on stream, so you get that like, the cringy pose up, and then, like, everything about it was just awful. It was awful. And again, these left-wing Twitter accounts that all of a sudden, somehow, they got... Like, remember that no comrade under 1K thing? That's an op.
Yeah.
That's an op, 100%. Where did these people go? Like, somehow
I don't
you're
think
telling me...
it was 100% an op because, listen, people
it's one
do
of those
this
things, well,
follow
of course
back.
you want to help other people, so we're going to
But also,
manipulate that.
People do this follow back shit all the time on Twitter, and, you know, occasionally it blows up for some reason. That doesn't naturally make the entire thing an op. But if something like that is trending, are people going to latch onto it that have bad motives?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely, without a doubt. And that's the problem with, again, the force the vote thing is like, these are decent ideas, these are worthy of debate, and then you revoke all those debates, and you say, you cannot debate this, you have to do what Jimmy Dore says, or else you're a corporate sellout. And it's like, and that's the thing, it's like, this feels like a disinformation campaign that's targeting people like Jimmy Dore, people like Brianna Joy Gray, people like the Gray Zone. Those are my, like, prime suspects right now. And Convo
Gray
Couch
Zone is especially suspect.
Yeah, no,
we all know where his money comes
yeah,
from.
that one is like, and then like, that's the thing is like, you look at them, and then it's like Jimmy Dore's going on their show all the time, and it's like, what's going on there? And then it's like, okay, that's interesting. And then they're going on, and then they retweet each other all the. It's literally the Dave Rubin, Tim Pool, fucking like, you know, like what I don't remember all like Charlie Kirk, like all those people. They go on each other's shows. And they say, look, this is my friend, and, you know, sure, he's a Nazi, but he's my friend, and he went on my show, and I'm going to tell you he's not a Nazi, but, you know, like, then you go to his channel, and he's going to tell you he's a Nazi, but he's just being a reasonable person, because I told you he's reasonable. That's what they're doing. That's literally what they're doing, but on the left. And again, like, you see these people like Convo Couch that are just openly saying, yeah, the election was stolen. Joe Biden's a fake president, and then somehow they're a leftist? Like, socialists are following them and repeating their talking points?
You want to say the primary was stolen? Sure, let's talk. But if you want to say the election was stolen, if anything, the Republicans always do more voter fraud, and we already have seen evidence that they did more voter fraud as usual. So, like, I don't like Joe Biden, but he won. Like,
and also, it's another thing of like Democrats rigging the Democrat primary. It's the Democrat primary. They've got ultimate control versus rigging the constitutional election process. Now, theoretically, yes, they can do both, right? But it's a big stretch.
The latter is much harder.
Yes, it's a big stretch. It's a like, you need to, like, one is like maybe a tenth as difficult as the other. And these people are just like, and it's again the emotional reactionary thing. They just say the DNC stole the primary, and in a lot of ways, yes, and I'm down to have that conversation, and I'm totally willing to even say that they cheated the primary. I'm absolutely willing to say that. But then when the next thing out of your breath is, and then they stole the general too, I don't want to be associated with that. Like, I don't want that anywhere near me. Like, if I, like, you know, was walking down the stairs and it, like, you know, I you know, stepped in it or something, I would want to wash my foot as soon as possible because it's garbage. It's trash.
Well, also, I need to see some fucking proof. Like, for the primary, first of all, the courts ruled point blank that the parties can rig their primaries. Like, they have actual legal permission to do so. That is, they don't have that for the general election. No one has ever had a court ruling giving them blanket permission to rig the general election. Now, say what you will about Bush's first election, but even that is not the same as a blanket court ruling saying that you can rig an election just outright.
Yeah, no, it's a big step to go from voter suppression and, like, Supreme Court cases to the Democrats rigged it. And again, these people are just, like, promoting the Trump stuff.
Voter suppression! Who does the most voter suppression?
Exactly,
it's
Republicans. Exactly. And that's another thing is these people, they call themselves leftists, but they never talk about Trump. In fact, they always say, if you talk about Trump, it's Trump derangement syndrome. The real problem are the Democrats. That's these people. They've got to be an op. An op are being used. And again, like you mentioned Riot Knight, so I'm going to hop on this one. This guy was a Warren supporter, right? And then he flipped to Bernie, and now he's saying don't vote for Biden, and then also force the vote, and then also don't vote for Democrats. And then also, the guy is, like, already a previously established, like, he's already willing to say what he wants for money, previously established, right? So it's like, again, I don't trust him as a source of information. He can write some fire tweets, and that's cool, and that's, good when he writes the good tweets, right? But when he starts going out there and say you can't vote for Biden and you can't vote for AOC because she's selling you out, it's like, what? It's like, it's really weird. It's really weird. And again, people can change, people can evolve. That's great, and that's fine. And if Brianna Joy Gray or Ryan Knight or Jimmy Dore want to go on an apology tour, I don't expect it, but if they did, I would embrace that, right? But at the same time, like, you can't expect people to take you super seriously instantly just because you've got 100,000 Twitter followers from your corporate sellout gig that you already had.
No.
And so I just think it's an inside job. I think a lot of this is more connected than we think personally, but
And let's just be clear, okay? I'm curious. Probably a lot of people don't feel this way necessarily yet, and that's okay, I guess. But I don't believe that my ideal government or like society would be a better way to put it. My ideal society can come through our current system of government, like period. Even if we had the Congress is all progressives, Senate is all progressives, progressive president, we're still not going to get to my ideal society because I'm an anarchist, and that's just not possible.
And another thing is, like, I'm okay with that. I acknowledge that.
So with that in mind, how do I engage with electoralism? I could not engage at all, but I am poor, and I have lived around poor people all of my life, and I know that people like me suffer when people just choose to disengage from politics entirely, because it's lib shit. Okay, so my ideal government cannot come, or my ideal society cannot come through our current structures of government, but poor people like me will suffer if I don't do something occasionally, right? That's how I feel about it. I don't understand where these other people are coming from. It seems like half the time they think that their ideal society can come through the government, but somehow they think voting out their closest ideological allies will get them closer.
That's the thing. Oh, we're going to primary AOC. Then what? What? You're going to primary AOC? And then what? And then you're going to have one congressperson with even less power. Great. Good job. Okay. Like, if you want to primary Warren, I can... it's a little vindictive. I think you could spend the money on better projects. But if you want to, just for what she did in the primary against Bernie, you know what? I'm honestly kind of on board with that. In Massachusetts, you could probably get a better senator out of. But if you're saying you want a primary AOC, which would probably translate into making a spoiler candidate so that a corporate-funded primary candidate would win that primary, so, like, you would just fuck things up like an idiot, right? Like, I'm just sorry. Anyone that says you want a primary AOC, I'm sorry. You're dumb. And does that mean I'm standing AOC? I'm an AOC superfan? No. It means if you want to spend money to make Congress a better place, there are better ways to spend money. If you want to primary AOC, you are an emotional, crybaby, train wreck of a reactionary goon. That's my opinion.
Yeah, it's a waste of money. I hear all the time, we can't waste resources on blah, 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 but we can waste resources primarying AOC from the left. Let's be real. The average American is not to the left of those of us on Twitter. Even people like me that you might think I'm somewhat of a lib and disagree with, because you're a fucking idiot chud.
You're a shit lib. Why are you standing in the way of healthcare?
Right. Even if you think that about me, I'm to the left of the people offline. Okay? Like, no matter what you believe, right? So, the people that are voting AOC into office, most of them are not to the left of me. They are to the right of me. Okay?
And also funding AOC, right, are mostly people to the right of you.
Yes.
They're mostly like, and that's not to say they're right wingers, but it's to say that they're just like working people who say like, yeah, the world should be a better place. I'll chuck AOC a couple bucks. And they don't study this shit because they're not like, they've got normal lives and they're socially well adjusted, right? That's the thing. And these weirdos on Twitter that think like, okay, so you're an anarchist and you want to revolt against the government, and then what? Right? And there's never a conversation about after that. And it's the same strategy with the force the vote. Okay, you're going to force the vote, and then what? Well, then we're going to primary other people 2 years from now. Okay, well, that's 2 years from now. You're accusing me of standing in the way of healthcare. Jimmy Dore is going on there saying it will pass. It's a pandemic. Of course they'll pass it. Meanwhile, Mitch McConnell just shot down $2,000 checks a week ago, right? So what world are you living in where you think, oh, it's a pandemic, automatically that means Mitch McConnell's going to pass Medicare for all? And then even if he does, he's going to pass Medicare for All without amendments that are going to fuck it up. Like, again, like, these people don't think.
And then the main argument that I heard was like, of course it's not going to pass the Senate, but we'll know who our allies and enemies are. We already know who our allies and enemies are. We already know who to primary in 2022. If you don't know who to primary in 2022, it's because you don't listen to shows like mine. Just point blank. I'm just gonna plug myself for a second and just say that, because
just don't do it live on stream. It might get me banned.
Fucking like that. What do you mean? I don't get it. What do you mean that we don't know who our allies and enemies are? First of all, everyone in our fucking government is our enemies, if you want to look at it that way, because, like, we have to take power from these people, and we should put pressure on all of them. And I think it's fine to look at things that way, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that we get rid of our closest ideological allies. I just do not understand that. And if we want to primary AOC from the left, we have to shift the fucking Overton window first, okay? Like, I just want to be clear about what needs to happen. Would I love to see AOC lose to a leftist challenger? Sure, that'd be fun as hell. Like, it would be a great resounding defeat of all of, like, the liberal concessions that she's ever made if a leftist challenger stepped up and beat her. But is that going to happen? Not unless we change the discourse enough to allow it to happen. Because right now, the people that voted for AOC are not looking for someone to the left of AOC for the most part. Maybe a small percentage, like 10% of her voters are, but that's it. And
another thing is, like, you take that same lefter than AOC and primary a corporate Democrat. Like, again, even then, it's just a better calculation. You know, it's like you get rid of someone who's worse, and you get someone who's even more to the left. You know, like, look at Cori Bush, for example. I think she's further to the left by a significant margin than AOC, I would say. And she also didn't primary someone like AOC. She went against the corporate Democrat, you know? So it's like the idea that you're going to, like, again, it's just a pure resource thing. And again, we don't have that many. We are the ones without the resources. But I think the people that say this, one of the things that they say, oh, yeah, the money will come. The money will come. It's because they know that there's a faucet somewhere. They know that they've got control, or someone they know's got control of a faucet somewhere, and that if someone did something like this, they wouldn't have to worry. That's what I think, and it might not be like they're all in on like this hyperactive scheme, because most people, you know, you want to limit the information that you give out to other people because you don't want them to turn on you. That's the whole idea. You manipulate them instead. So again, do I totally think it's possible that all of these people, all these like left-wing podcast hosts, are just taking money via super chats, and they think, oh, this is what the people want, and then they start doing this awful message, and then they convince their good faith, mostly poor audience, right, of people to not like electoralism, to just completely bow out of the process, right? And again, it's all about margins. Like, if you can cut off 5% of the Bernie coalition, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. That's at the very least hundreds of thousands of people, right? And if you can cut them off, then and then make them hate politics from that point on, that's a huge win. That's a huge win.
Well, and it definitely means that we're not getting a progressive president in 2024 if you do that. Because really, we should be looking at it as we almost had a win. Let's go for the W in 2024. Let's get Washington climate Thanos or whatever.
There you go.
You know, somebody. Let's get fucking Sherrod Brown. He's not that great, but he'll do. Like, let's get somebody running in 2024 that can pick up the Bernie mantle, and we could fucking win it, especially if we started now. If we started now and we went out in 2024 with the explicit goal of observing and reporting on voter suppression, because some of that was done this cycle, and it's one of the only things that helped us get this close.
Absolutely. But have you thought about these people that just don't read the news and don't participate in the campaigns, and they just react to like tweet storms all day? Like, if you don't get your news and you don't work on the campaign and you know nothing about how these processes work, isn't it easier just to go on Twitter and say everyone's a corporate sellout? I think. Personally.
Yeah, it's super easy. If you never engage with politics, then it's really easy to remain pure. And most of these fucking purity people don't engage with politics directly at all.
They also, like, let's be real, they don't engage in they're not like, oh, I'm for mutual aid. That's great. Like, do you work for a food bank? Are you working in any mutual aid organizations? Because that's wonderful.
No, they'll say that that's lib charity shit.
Yeah, and again, they always have an excuse, is the point. And again, my excuse is there's a pandemic going on, right? That's my excuse, right? I don't want to leave the house right now, but, maybe I should, and could I, and all that kind of stuff, right? I think about it, but my excuse is there's a pandemic going on. What's these people's excuse, right? Like, if they're to the left of me, they're more noble, they're more revolutionary than me. Shouldn't they be the ones that, okay, it's a pandemic, I'll go out there and start a mutual aid organization in winter? I mean, if you want to, I'll support you, I'll have you on my show, and maybe you can get some funding, right? Like, but these people don't want to do the work because the work is hard.
Yes. Not Safe for Wonks raises money for mutual aid fundraising any chance that we can get a good project to raise money for. And like our biggest one last year is we raised $3,000 for rent relief in one day. If you've got a great mutual aid project that we can help out with, we will help you. Like, we love mutual aid, but you got to actually do it.
Yeah, you can't just post on Twitter.
Can't just post about it.
And I love posting. I'm a huge fan of posting. Like, you might know this more than anyone. I love a good post, right? Love it. But goddamn, if your entire ideology and personality is Twitter, that I think should be in the DSM. Like, seriously, like, that is not good. But
yeah. The people, I was going to say, the people who say that like mutual aid is too lib and that electoralism is too lib, y'all are also going to have an excuse when the revolution comes.
Yeah.
I know what y'all are like. The revolution will be too fucking lib too.
Of course it will. Like, I disagreed with that guy on Twitter 7 years ago who's in the commanding position. We disagreed on on vegetarianism or something, and so now I hate them for the rest of my life. That's another thing. I'm a vegetarian, so I get involved in this discourse. But I noticed that a lot of these similar people that we're talking about are like really anti-vegan, and they somehow claim that like veganism is like a neoliberal like sellout, like it's not going to change anything. And it's like, I don't know, that I find that a little weird. Personally, I don't know. Like, are you a meat eater? What is your opinion on that?
I do eat meat.
Filthy carny?
Yes, I'm a filthy carnivore. I have a complex opinion on meat ethics. I don't think that veganism is dumb, though. I think that there are some people that make it dumb like any political ideology, but I can't blame a movement on those people, right? Because that's bad faith.
Exactly.
Sure, can I find like some bizarro vegan leftists on Reddit who just post the craziest, cringiest shit imaginable?
I'm considering occupying that space just for the media. Like, I'm really considering it because it's so funny. But yeah, that's the thing. Is like,
it doesn't. I grew up rural and farming a lot, and I have a relationship to food that's based on those experiences.
Sounds like an excuse.
And
I think you're actually standing in the way of fixing climate change, and I think you're taking money from big meatpacking organizations. That's what I think personally.
It's true. I'm in the pocket of the USDA. Maybe.
Or something. I don't know.
I couldn't even. I was like, who would I be in the pocket? Tyson. There it is.
There you go.
Okay. I'm in the pocket of Tyson.
Asian card. I like, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I don't know. I always find these people like the through line here, and what I meant when I bring up the vegetarian is that it's just the reactionary tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the thing. It's like you can always find these people saying the dumbest, most unintelligent, non-thoughtful thing possible at every juncture. And I want to just shout myself out again because I'm awesome and I'm a great person and everyone should be in love with me at all times. But I streamed yesterday, the whole day, and there was a large portion of that stream where I was silent because I was observing and I was kind of like trying to put together what was happening, and I didn't want to say something stupid. Right? Like, I could have been like, oh, woo, like, get up. Like, I could have been doing that. Right? And I could have been saying dumb shit like, oh, these guys are legends when they fucking bring the Confederate flag into the Capitol. I could have been being an ironic shit poster. But me personally, I was observing, and I didn't say anything unless I really meant it. And that's what I think a lot of people should do. But they don't. And that's, I think also, even as a broader message and critique, this is the way social media manipulates us, is they manipulate us into wanting to get our every thought out there. Like, the more you think and the more you can get thoughts out, the more engagement you get. So if you don't think about something and you just think about it once and you post a tweet and then maybe you have another tweet or thought and you post it again, you'll get more likes, you'll get more engagement. It makes the algorithm go boom. You don't get the engagement for writing a long, thoughtful thread of like 15 tweets. You get like 2 likes and then no one cares, right? No one reads it. But you do get that engagement when you say, yo, these guys are epic. You know, like, and that's another thing is like people don't realize that social media is manipulating you. They're addicting you to certain kind of behaviors. Like, ask your grandpa, hey grandpa, would you ever say something like in front of thousands of people without ever thinking about it? And they'd be like, what? Like, I'd be around thousands of people. 2, like, I would have like they just wouldn't comprehend that situation. And I feel like a lot of people don't realize how social media is manipulating our behavior.
Yeah. Well, and this relates perfectly to all the shit that we've been talking about. There's definitely something that's getting mixed up and lost in translation for a lot of very online leftists between civility politics and basic human respect. Civility politics is a thing that we should all be against, but it is not something that applies to every human conversation. It is a political action. If you are just talking amongst friends privately about an issue and they accuse you of civility politic, they're probably being a little over dramatic in my opinion. Now, they might be not exactly wrong, but like there is this like idea that because civility politics are bad, we are allowed to just disrespect anyone anytime we disagree with them. And that is not...
If you think it's inappropriate to send AOC death threats, that's simping for politicians. Like, when like Jimmy Dore saying, I'm gonna come for you and I'm never gonna stop. That's unacceptable as all of a sudden, oh, what are you, an AOC fan? Simping for politicians? What are you, against free speech? And, it's like,
and to be clear, AOC saying, oh, speech is violence is also whack. Like, it's both things can be bad.
I think that she has a point, and she did not articulate that point well.
She did not articulate it,
And then, of course,
no.
the Force the Vote, Jimmy Dore people are not receptive to that point to begin with. And so when you don't articulate that point in a really well-made way, and this goes into the thing where it's like, oh, well, let's not have Bernie because then they're going to call us a socialist. Well, they're going to call you a socialist regardless, right? So AOC, like, they were going to attack her regardless, right? So It might have been better just to not bring it up. It might have been better just to like bring it up in a more articulate fashion. Who knows? But these people would have come after her regardless. So at the same time, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it does. I will say, because I gave a very nuanced take about language and organizing and how to use language. I was attacked just incessantly with just insane things leveled at me. For saying literally, this is what I said. I said Jimmy Dore is allowed to be as mad as he wants and say whatever he wants on his show, but you shouldn't bring that kind of attitude to organizing, or people are gonna fucking leave.
Yeah, exactly.
And people were like, "Oh, you're civility politics, blah blah," and like, have you ever been on a union line? That's not how you talk. And it's like, yeah, when you're on the picket line, you swear at the scabs and shit. I get that. I'm talking about meetings. I said that.
And
like,
that
I'm talking
goes
about
back
doing
into
the
this,
actual
like,
organizing work.
They've got this grandiose, like, main character syndrome bullshit where, again, like, Jimmy Dore's calling this thing a town hall to pump his ego up. It was a podcast. Oh, but if I call it a town hall, then it's serious. And if it's serious, then it's an organizing thing. And we're building a party and it's super serious. It's not. It's a podcast. You are doing nothing different than you would be doing every other day. And so you, like, and it, again, am I gonna, like, when I go to a fucking, when I was hosting Bernie events, I was hosting Bernie events in my town during the campaign primary. And so I would get a lot of people that would come to my house and we'd watch debates. Every time there'd be a debate, I'd host a debate watch party at my house. And so am I gonna, like, have my Antifa flag on the front door? Am I gonna have, like, the fucking, like, you know, all of the fucking, like, hard, like, am I gonna have a Molotov, like, on the fucking, like, counter? Am I gonna have AK-47s on the wall? Will I, like, invite, like, liberal, like, old people into my home? No, I'm not. Am I going to say we need to murder, like, Donald Trump? No, I'm not. I'm going to say, wow, let's have fun watching this debate. How are you guys doing today? That's what I'm going to do, because I'm a normal person and I know how to speak to people.
You're gonna look for maybe reasonable opportunities to agitate as opposed to unreasonable ones?
Yeah, like someone saying, oh, Amy Klobuchar, I like her. her, and then like I point out something she says dumb later on in the debate, and then that gets them thinking. That's how you have to deal with real people in real spaces. But these people are not real people in real spaces, and this is why I think a lot of them are operatives. I think a lot of them are being paid, and most of the ones at the top are podcasters, so like this is what they do anyway, and they're not interested in organizing, they're not interested in union building or movements or whatever, because they're podcasters. That's not their thing, right? But they're going to pretend to be because it's good for their podcast.
I just want to say, I've done a lot of organizing in my life. I started organizing at a young age. I started protesting the Iraq War at the age of 12 because it was bad. It was really a bad thing. And, you know, I was not ultra woke at that age, believe me. But I was still, like, politically interested and informed enough even at that point to be like, damn, this war thing is really fucked up. And I was a part of a group of youths that did protesting as, like, middle school and high school students against the war. And so I've been doing organizing since a very young age. I don't do quite as much anymore because of my chronic health issues, but I am still doing some. And let me tell you something that I can tell you about organizing is that if you're having an organizing meeting that looks like the Zoom meetings that were happening with the Force the Vote people, where Jimmy Dore is just screaming, "You're a traitor! You're a fucking traitor!" at people.
Those motherfuckers will come on my show! I get 10 to 12 million views a month! And they won't address my progressive audience?
Have you ever seen his show, Chad? It's all Trump supporters.
My progressive audience! My audience is so progressive!
Like, these people are crybabies, dude. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them so much.
If working class people walk into your organizing meeting and there are leftists screaming, "You're a traitor! You're a fucking..." like that kind of shit at each other, they walk out. They don't sign up for anything. Yep. They don't come back.
And then also, they will tell everyone about that time they went to that union meeting and how unhinged it was. And then, so their family and their wife and then their kids are going to know. And then if they see your flyer 2 years down the line, the only thing they're going to know about your little org is how unhinged it was when Daddy went, like, 2 years ago. Right? And that's the thing that Jimmy Dore and all these freak shows don't understand, is that town hall is political suicide. It's done. Right? Like, if they ever try to organize with the People's Party apparatus that's in the Oppo, it's going to be there forever. They will not get off the ground, right? So it's a dead-in-the-water project as it is. So it's not going to progress. They've already shot it in the foot as it is. But they're going to continue on that brand because they think that, oh, they're fighting the good fight. Oh, we don't have to... Another thing these motherfuckers do is they love to quote Martin Luther King and compare Jimmy Dore to Malcolm X. Have you...
Yes! Oh my god, I had so many of those people. I didn't know that was such a big thing, but I had those people in my mentions. And then the funniest one, this guy compares Jimmy Dore to Malcolm X and, like, calls me the white moderate, basically, right? And then I was like, Jimmy Dore is literally the white moderate, as my response, because he actually is a white moderate. Fucking... someone else came in and was like just baffled that this person would compare Jimmy Dore to Malcolm X, and then the person turns around. This is the level of dishonesty that these people have. It's like, I didn't do that. I didn't compare Jimmy Dore to Malcolm X. Like, literally, you just did that. But he was like, no, that's not really what I was saying. Like, these people will never admit for 1 second that they're wrong about anything, much like Jimmy Dore. That's his personality. He does not admit that he was wrong about anything. He has not admitted that he was fucking wrong to support Tulsi Gabbard in the presidential primary. He has not admitted that.
For bringing it up. He'd say, oh, they keep bringing up that I support Tulsi. I mean, yeah, I thought she was the best candidate and everything, and I'm going to defend everything I said. But, like, also, why do they keep bringing it up? It's like, what? Like, again, the most important moment in American history, at least in our lifetimes, to get Medicare for all, was in February. Where were you? Making pro-Tulsi, anti-Bernie videos.
Also, why are you still defending Tulsi when she's a transphobe?
Well,
because you're a transphobe.
He doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit.
He is a transphobe.
Like,
you've heard his
literally,
old
like,
comedy, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's on the... I mean, yeah. I've seen many things.
And by old, I mean from like 12 years ago, not like ancient.
Yeah, and it's another thing. It's like, if it's one thing, yeah, sure, you made dumb jokes. All right, great. Now, stop doing that. Right, it's the pattern that's the problem. Evolution, great. If Jimmy Dore were to come out and say that was really wrong of me, and I just thought it was funny at the time because of the culture I was raised in, whatever, I'd accept it. But he still does that shit. Like, he's carrying water for Tulsi's bill whenever it's mentioned in passing, saying, "Oh, well, she just has concerns for women." It's like, what? And then, like, he's not making any videos about it. Like, it's just like he's running away from the subject. And it's bizarre. It's bizarre. And these people are freak shows. And I think it's important to introduce people that would otherwise maybe be falling into their traps to other people that aren't bad faith actors, like the Not Safe for Wonks crew. There you go. That's your opening.
Hey. Yeah. It's just like, if you cared so much about Medicare for all, Jimmy, then why did you trash so many progressives running for Congress? Why did you not support Bernie Sanders? Why did you support Tulsi Gabbard, who's an obvious fucking piece of shit? And by the way, I don't believe in Russiagate conspiracies at all, except for Tulsi Gabbard. Any crazy theory you have about Tulsi Gabbard's allegiances, I will give time to.
Me too.
Because at this
Just
point,
for the record, yeah?
Because at this point, she is some kind of fucking, I don't even know what, and like,
I honestly think that she's an alien. Like, she's not even a human, as far as I'm concerned. I think that the UFOs are real, and I think that they are Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah. I also, if anyone has ever been a Russian op, or actually, let me put it this even crazier way. If Hillary Clinton has ever been right about anything, ever, in her entire career, it's that Tulsi Gabbard is an op.
Honestly, backing that up. I'm backing that up. Yeah, let's wrap up here. What would you like to tell the audience, my 10 to 12 million progressive views? What would you like to tell them? Like, who are you? Where can they find you? What do you do? Why are you even alive? Etc.
Etc. Well, thank you for having me on your show again so much. I'm Kennedy Cooper. You can find me at Kennedy T. Cooper on Twitter if you like my takes personally. If you're not so sure about my takes, but you're maybe willing to give me half a chance, you can check out my main political show. It's at NSF Wonks on Twitter, youtube.com/notsafemedia. And yeah, we do streams Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's good stuff. It's later in the afternoon, too. So if you watch Andrea's show in the morning, you can watch us in the afternoon and just have a full day of good stuff.
Exactly. It's a very possible thing to do. This is why I do my show in the morning, because no one I talk to does a show in the morning. So it's like
a great idea.
And then I get to do it, and then when everyone else does their show, whenever I interact with them, I get to do the thing where I say, "Oh yeah, I talked about this on my show this morning." Right? I love doing. That's one of my favorite things. I just like real quick. I love going into other people's chats and then like blogging about my own show. It's just great. Like everyone else does it. I get people coming into my thing and say like, "Yeah, I made a YouTube video about this." It's like, "All right, cool." All right. So that's the thing. I get to get all my news out first. So
we always go to Nomiki's comments and are like, after the Nomiki show, watch Not Safe for Wonks.
Oh my God. There you go. I mean, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. At any point, Sam Cedar's going to come into my show. It's like, all right, Above It All viewers, welcome. The time is here. But yeah, no, thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
I would like to go on your show at some point again soon. We were going to do that, but then yesterday happened.
Maybe next week.
We can do it whenever.
A little less nuts,
yeah, whenever there's not like a coup attempt, I'm open.
Yeah.
And you're free to come on me as well. I don't take that out of context, of course. No, you're free to come on my show.
Just that.
You're free to come on my show whenever if you want to have a hot take.
I'd love to come back.
All right.
I'd love to come back soon.
All right. I'm so bad at endings, so I'm going to have to ask you to just leave. I know this is awkward. I know you don't want to be here. I don't want to be here.
You just gotta go.
This is just this is really bad. I hate this. This is like, I'm freaking out. I'm having an anxiety attack. No, I'm good. All right. But yeah, thank you for coming on, and I will see you at another point in time. That's it. That's all I got. This is okay. Oh shit. Oh fuck. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching the program today. I would like to take a moment to read the super chats that I did not get to. During the thing. I tried to reply in the chat, right? Let's see. I'm trying to like find the super chats. Like there's like usually a tab where they're open, but they're not there. The super chats are just gone. Like normally it's in the viewer activity section, but they're just not there. So I'm sorry. But yeah, thank you all for watching the stream today. I appreciate you. I'm considering being back later today. I know the webcam's off. I'm considering coming back later today for another stream just because there is so much motherfucking shit to talk about. And I ended up pontificating a little bit too long. So I'm considering coming back later tonight for another stream. I don't know when. I'll announce it like a couple hours beforehand if I do. And if I don't, you know, because I might not, and I did stream 16 hours ago. I might stream 16 fucking hours, or I streamed 16 hours yesterday. So I might just not do it and take a rest. But I also might do it anyway, because I like streaming and this is what I like doing. So I also might just do it anyway. Here's my PayPal link if you are curious. And again, so I will keep you all posted, and thank you for watching the program. Again, your immense support is extremely valuable to me. And absolutely, I would recommend watching the Not Safe for Wonk show. They only do 1 hour, and they only do 5 days a week, so they're not as good as me somehow. And I you know, this is, I don't know how, but somehow they've got like 12,000 people that work at their little co-op there, and they can only stream 5 out of 7 days a week. That's really interesting. Here I am streaming 16 hours a day by myself. So I'm just throwing that out there. But definitely go subscribe to them. Yeah, so I will see you all later. And thank you for listening. And that's you know, that's basically it. We're in the, this is the outro thing. I'm flipping the scenes here. I'm gonna click play on the song. You ready? I'm gonna turn it on. All right, it's on now. And you know what's off? Me?
Did you use the word smart? So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe.
Early in the morning, they went to the table with the black robe, the black shield, and they pulled out the votes. Those votes were put there a number of hours before.
And then they have cans of soup. Soup. And they throw the cans of soup. That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick, it's too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? And then when they get caught, they say, no, this is soup from my family. They're so innocent. This is soup from my family. It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup, and they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. And if it hits you, that's worse than a brick because it's got force. It's the perfect size. It's like made perfect. And when they get caught, they say, no, this is just soup from my family. And then the media says, this is just soup. These people are very, very innocent. They're innocent people.
Watch Hillary examine the terrain. Watch a campaign with the man Tim Kaine. Tim Kaine in the membrane. Tim Kaine in the brain.
Isn't it wonderful to allow protesting? Running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Can you imagine if I lose my whole life? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I lost to the worst candidate in the history of politics. I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country. I don't know.
They're not accountable to anyone. I get 10 to 12 million views a month, and they won't come out and address my progressive audience.
In my opinion, it's never too late. Little double sound act. So that's the story, fellas.